In March 2001, the WWF won the Monday Night War. They won the Wrestling War and purchased WCW. They then spent a few months trying to get WCW its own TV show, Hard on Saturday Night, on TV. To no avail. And thus, they came up with a new plan. They'll rebrand WWF Raw to WCW Raw. And then they did a show in Tacoma, Washington that went really, really badly. But it's okay. Now it's an invasion. And ECW is here. And it's all gone wild. And it's now Stephanie owns ECW. And they're going to go against Vince McMahon. And they hate Freddie Blassie. This is our review of the incredibly successful WWF Invasion 2001 pay-per-view, which Ollie Davis is sporting the t-shirt for.
Now, this is the Tajiri t-shirt. It's the official Tajiri t-shirt of the Invasion pay-per-view. It's what he wears.
Yeah, the mock-up for the poster that was done before they had Stephanie McMahon purchase ECW, and therefore she is not a part of the t-shirt, though she is a part of the opening graphics. Did you see this?
Is she?
Yeah, look.
I mean, the ECW logo's in there for sure.
It is. Let me get the timestamp for you. I've got all my observer notes. Hold on 1 second. Here we go. All right, where are we? Oh, no, I didn't make a note of it. Okay, right. If I skip forward a little bit.
Well, in the opening... So that was the opening video package. Now we're hearing... You mean like a graphic?
Yeah. So here you go. So when it gets to the invasion bit here... There's the Vince and Shane face. There's Vince and Shane. And then if you skip forward a little bit... there is Stephanie McMahon. As people said she wasn't part of the graphics. But there she is.
A blink and you'll miss it. Bit of Stephanie. Like they're trying to create some hideous hybrid of genders of McMahon. It's McPeople.
Look at this David Cronenberg like horror image.
I'll just say it again because I don't know if you... I said McPeople. Because McMahon.
Yeah, McMahon, yeah.
I just thought that was a better joke than the reaction it got. Do you know what? Now we're here, though. I know usually tradition is that we go through the news and what's number one at the box office. But it's not just Stephanie McMahon who's added into this storyline. This is, of course... some general, sorry Sullivan, you'll probably know exactly which World War II American general this is. You got some American guys and gals behind him because WWF in their, really measured comparisons of storylines to real life events are comparing the invasion to World War II. And that's most of the opening. It's like, here's Mike Awesome invading Raw. Here's a shot of some bombers. But it's mostly the American side. You just said American.
That is the most important bit of World War II,
exactly.
If I remember correctly.
Johnny Come Lately is over there joining in when we've been slugging away for years.
Look, from what I have heard and what I've been told many, many years is that if they hadn't joined, we'd all be speaking German now.
Exactly. But you got this bit, and then there's a bit of Taker. There's the planes dropping some paratroopers. Am I going the wrong way? I'm going the wrong way. So let's go the right way. There's the General, Undertaker.
Yeah.
So, and then, that looks a bit too regimented to be America. That look,
Yep. Oh yeah, there it is.
That's Stalin. I do not remember. All the people who say, yeah, but it's Stephanie in the graphic. Do you remember Stalin and what looks like Nazi German soldiers in the invasion video package?
That's ECW.
Isn't that, considering the religion of the main guy in ECW, a bit skew-if?
In which case it's WCW.
It was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
People did this stuff all the time. And look, let's be honest, no one cared. It's only a problem now.
It's the Coalition, which they have been branded on this show. They keep calling them the Coalition. They'll later be called the Alliance. But on this show, they kept calling them the Coalition against the WWF.
Yeah, I can't remember what the world... Axis of Evil was a lot later. Actually, probably even post-2001. Because this is pre-9/11.
Yeah.
Thank God, in a way. Because who knows what footage they would use...
We'll find out. We are going to hit that in our timeline at some point.
And I'm sure they deal with it very appropriately.
Yeah, because they were WWF, famously, not a reactionary company.
And also, they'll understand, like, that's bigger, that's separate to wrestling. And, you know, it's exactly like when Vince was persecuted by the government for the steroid trial.
Clearly is just on their mind at this point, because we did the Go Home episode for the Invasion show, which you can go watch right now. It's patreon.com/WrestleTalk. It is the episode before this. This is technically episode 6 in our run through. Yes, episode 6. And on that show, JR says on 2 different occasions the WWF has never faced a threat like this before. The WWF has had the right-wing media come after it. Right-wing groups have come after the WWF. The governments have come after the WWF. Who was the other people he said had come after them?
WCW, maybe?
No,
they don't say Ted Turner, do they?
Well, that's because Ted Turner is technically still coming after them now, because WCW is coming after them. But yeah, there was like...
Stalin? Was it Stalin?
Never faced a threat like this before. So clearly, the government coming against the WWF is on Vince's mind at the moment, because it will come up again in just like 3 months' time when the 9/11 terror attacks do happen, and they do an episode of SmackDown where Stephanie compares the 9/11 atrocity to the government coming after her father.
And let's remember here, Vince only got off on a technicality. It's not like those were completely fictitious claims. It just Hogan did the job. Ironically,
he did actually. Yeah,
he didn't sell Vince out.
So we are here in our timeline. Thank you for joining us for this Invasion series that we have been doing. We've still got quite a road ahead of us yet. This is really only the first stop. Like, everything we've done up until this point has been context. It's been
prologue.
It's been prologue. It's been like pretext.
Yeah.
This is the first pay-per-view where it is WWF versus, WCW and now ECW. If you haven't been watching the episodes, just to catch you up a little bit.
But you should go over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk and watch all 5 episodes before this episode.
Yeah.
Probably cumulatively 17, actually probably 20 hours.
I was going to say it's probably 20 hours. Yeah, the first episode's like 4.5 hours long or something ludicrous. But yeah, WWF won the war. They bought WCW, and they had planned to relaunch it as its own separate brand. The idea being that there'll be 2 crews. There'll be the Raw crew, which will be WCW, and it'll be WCW Raw on Monday nights, and they'll also do the house show loop after that. And then the second crew, the SmackDown crew, the WWF crew, will do WWF SmackDown, going live on Thursdays, because those damn dirt sheets keep leaking the results, and that's the reason why our ratings are low. It's not because it's a bad show at the moment. And they will do the house show loop over the weekends.
And this is the precursor to the following year's brand split.
Exactly, yeah. So thank you, Buff Bagwell. That's the reason we have a brand split now. So that was our original plan, but then they did that show in Tacoma. It all fell apart because the crowd rejected the WCW main event of Booker T versus Buff Bagwell for the WCW Championship. So they scrapped all of those plans, and 1 week later, then brought in ECW to be part of this invasion, and that has now been, quote-unquote, purchased by Stephanie McMahon. Problem there is that Paul Heyman let Vince McMahon believe that he was okay to do that because he held the right to the ECW name. Turns out he didn't. The bankruptcy court that Paul Heyman sort of forgave to is the owner of all of those ECW licenses. So that's become a problem for them. But they're still pressing ahead with doing this. And now we're at this show here where we scrap plans again, and we've brought back the old Stone Cold to lead Team WWF against the Coalition.
Yeah, I really do encourage you to go back and watch the other episodes, because that is the bullet point version. There is so much else. There is a lot of
3 weeks of TV.
3 weeks of TV. There's stuff like how Heyman might have manipulated the entire situation to get his stuff on TV and get some money.
Yeah.
There's the there's the Linda stuff. There's the...
Yeah, that's right. They were going to do the divorce angle, which we would have had as the following night's Raw's episode. The divorce angle was supposed to culminate there, which is where Vince and Linda would split the assets, and that would create the 2 separate shows.
There's legit beat-up stories of Team WWF legit just beating up the WCW guys.
They busted up Buff Bagwell's hat, and he's been fired.
Yeah, maybe WWF intentionally tanked the WCW first match, even though they own WCW now. Anyway, Go and watch all that. But the main thing is, right now, leading in to the first ever WWF versus WCW and ECW inaugural brawl match on Invasion, the main storyline point is Stone Cold's a face again.
Stone Cold's a good guy. We realized the mistake we made at WrestleMania X7, and our big storyline now is Stone Cold's a goodie.
I said it before. This is 3 pay-per-views time. And I know you could say that about a lot of these plans. You know, ECW should have joined later on.
And been its own renegade group.
Yeah. After you've done the WCW stuff and you've run that, then the ECW people come in to inject some life. And then, 6 months down the line, because WWF oh my God, we've got WCW. We're fighting a war on 2 fronts, much like Nazi Germany in 1940. Then we need the old Stone Cold. That's when you tell that story.
I guess our problem is, it's not just that the crowd rejected the WCW main event that they did on that episode of Raw from Tacoma. It is because they are not picking up any of the Time Warner contracts of the top WCW stars, because Goldberg will cost them $6 million. If they want to get Goldberg, it's going to cost them $6 million just to buy him out of that contract, and they don't want to upset the pay scale. Scott Steiner is still currently hurt. They don't want to buy him out of his contract. Hogan's one is very, very messy, although there's been talks that he might come back. But there's also talks he's going to start up his own promotion to go against the WWF. Kevin Nash is currently sitting out just collecting a paycheck. They're not buying out...
Sting. Yeah, the big
Flair
ones.
and Sting are the other ones. Flair's is up in a couple of months' time. Sting, they're not even really looking at. Rey Mysterio's a prick, so we're not bringing Mysterio in. It's like you could keep talking about him all you want. He's a knobhead, and no one likes him.
We like our very positive culture in the locker room. Thank you very much, but we don't want anyone to bully Bob Holly.
And you know what he'll do? Rey Mysterio. He's going to come in and really upset this apple cart. So I wanted to give that as context because, and we'll do this up front, WrestleMania X7, just a few months prior to this, did 900,000 pay-per-view buys.
It's arguably the greatest pay-per-view the company's ever done.
900,000 pay-per-view buys. This show, Invasion, 750,000 pay-per-view buys. 150,000 less. At this point, it is the 4th biggest pay-per-view that WWF have ever done. It is bigger than every Royal Rumble. It is bigger than every SummerSlam, bigger than every Survivor Series. Even now that obviously the pay-per-view model for WWF is dead, it is still the biggest non-WrestleMania pay-per-view this company has ever done.
It's the first ever pay-per-view you watched on the network.
It is. When I got the network, I loaded it up and I immediately watched Invasion 2001. I've got a lot of nostalgia for this show. I've got a lot of love for this show and this time period in particular. But they did this, they got these numbers through, and they immediately decided we're done with this story. We're going to do this for another few months, but they are done with it. They are bored of doing this story now.
It's so weird because we've done
750,000 pay-per-view buys.
It's right there. But it's not what we came up with. It's using stuff that other people came up with, honestly. So we've done a bunch of these stories now. The rise and fall of Aces and Eights, the rise and fall of the Nexus, and it always does play out the same pattern. Really hot opening near the start as well. So you got like month, 2 months, and then there's the big thing that everyone remembers. And they're like, oh man, but then it fell off pretty quick afterwards. No. Usually, it goes on for another 6 months. And actually, the storyline fizzles out with this wet fart after, and it's totally lost focus. And that's what we've got here. This is a 1 month build. I know we've got X7, but the Invasion, we're saying it starts properly on a King of the Ring, really.
At King of the Ring, which is why we did that pay-per-view. You can watch that, our review of that episode. That is the unofficial start of the Invasion.
Booker T runs in the main event. And then you've got a month of TV where all those crazy back and forth plan changing bits happen.
Yeah. 4 weeks of TV between King of the Ring and this. Everything that we just... 4 weeks.
Arguably, a year's worth of creative.
Yeah.
Is in 4 weeks. Then you've got Invasion. So, okay, that's the month. And then after that, it is just this loss of focus, and it's mainly Kurt versus Austin.
Yeah, we'll get that like 3 pay-per-view straight.
Yeah.
It's The Rock versus Booker T, because The Rock's going to be back in 2 weeks' time after this pay-per-view here. That's the other thing they're currently relying on at the moment, because our other big headline of 2001 is post-WrestleMania X7, everything's going wrong. And people aren't coming to the house shows, people aren't buying the merchandise, people aren't watching the TV show. It's only when they started doing this invasion angle here that the ratings have started to pick up again. It's not converting into house show buys. It's not, people aren't buying tickets for the live shows, but it is seeing a bit of a turnover in ratings. But we'll see in the next couple of weeks, in the next episodes that we do, it ticks up again after Invasion, ticks up again after The Rock has come back, but then it will start to plateau a little bit, and then we'll probably start to dip off as we get towards the end of the year.
Because post X7, Triple H's injured, Rock's away filming a movie, Benoit gets injured at King of the Ring. He was one of the new projects that didn't pan out. It always comes back to this same point. Sign the WCW guys.
Yeah.
WWF have a glut. Glut means not very many, right?
I think, well, glut's obviously
Gate.
a lot. Glut is a lot.
Is it a lot?
Well, I mean, gluttony.
No, of course, you're right. They've got they're missing a lot of top stars.
I mean, in fairness, they do have a gluttony of stars, because they signed like 36 guys from the time from their purchase of WCW. Half of them aren't even here.
They've got not many top mainstream big stars. You've got Stone Cold, who's injured. You've got Kurt, who's working hurt. That rhymes. Undertaker, they tried with him, didn't connect at that main event badass level.
True, to that point, WrestleMania X7, 900,000 buys. They then did Austin versus Taker at Judgment Day, one of the lowest buy rates that they have had, like a huge drop off.
Red panic button. That's it. Because Triple H injured, Rock filming movies, blah, blah, blah. But you've got Goldberg. You've got Hogan.
Sting.
Ric Flair and Sting. Just waiting for their contracts to be bought out. Whatever little argument or but rabbit hole we find ourselves going down, like, but why did they do this? Couldn't they have done that? It all comes back to just sign Bill Goldberg.
That's all. That's the only guy. There are problems with doing Hogan. There are problems with doing Nash. There are problems with doing Scott Steiner. There's probably problems with doing Flair and Sting. Sting, we'll get to that interview that he does in a couple of weeks' time. That he reveals in a couple of years and years later. One of the reasons why he didn't want to sign with WWF is because of the way they were treating Booker T and the way they were treating Diamond Dallas Page. Like, I don't want to do that. You just needed Goldberg. You just needed to bring in Bill Goldberg, and you could have had this, 750,000 pay-per-view buys for this. You would have done more than that if you did this with Sean Stasiak. If you'd have had Bill Goldberg, you probably would have beaten Mania X7.
Yeah.
And you could have done that. And you could have done 3 pay-per-views with that. Because you could have done Goldberg versus Austin, Goldberg versus Rock, Goldberg versus Kurt. 3 pay-per-views in a row, and you probably would have done 900,000 plus buys with all 3 of them. Maybe you'd have been diminishing returns, but that first one, I think if you had Goldberg on this, you'd have done 1 million buys.
Yeah.
And the main event was Goldberg Austin. That's 1 million pay-per-view buys.
Exactly.
So I wanted to give a little bit of the context there of the success of this show. You made a point on our last episode when we were reviewing the July 16th episode of Monday Night Raw, which you can go watch now at patreon.com/WrestleTalk, that the ECW contingent that have joined this do feel like they have some top stars in this and actually sort of like bolstered up the ranks of the alliance, the coalition, because they were the top stars of ECW, which is what WCW doesn't have. And it kind of hit me during this show that not only do I agree with you on that, I mean, I agreed with you at the time as well. I think there's actually another key to it. Is they are also names that you associate with ECW. So even if you weren't a top star, like Yoshihiro Tajiri, you just see him. I know he's not part of that, but like when he's feuding with an ECW guy, you're like, oh, right, because he has got a connection to ECW. I don't look at Sean Stasiak and think like, now that's classic WCW right there. Palumbo and O'Hare. Now that's some classic WCW right there.
Well, I think it's also because WCW's roster, their mid-card roster by that point, they're all a bit samey. I like some of them quite a lot, actually. I really like Chuck Palumbo. But they are a bit generic, whereas you cannot say that about ECW.
No.
Every one of their wrestlers, from the bottom to the top of the card, is like their own weird toy in Sid's bedroom in Toy Story. They're very unique, very memorable. So, yeah, you do get it. Plus, you've got the advantage of those ECW guys, mostly, apart from RVD, have been working on WWF TV for a year or two.
A lot of them have, yeah.
So they're already established.
Absolutely.
Like Tajiri, if he just turned up, maybe, like Jerry Lynn maybe suffers from this. The crowd wouldn't really recognize him. But the Dudleys, Raven, they've been on screen for 2 years, one or 2 years by this point.
Yeah, another good point. Another good point made.
Thanks, man.
So let's get into something. Actually, the last thing I want to say, this is a future story. This is one that we'll get in August, but it might not come up in our timeline. So I want to tell you now because you mentioned that you quite like Chuck Palumbo. There is a story from a house show where it's the Palumbo and O'Hare versus the Hardys, where they weren't allowed to do punches because they were told, again, you don't know how to work and you just rely on doing punches and kicks. So you're not allowed to do punches and kicks in this match to learn how to do other stuff. And I'm there watching this pay-per-view where they're facing the APA. I was like, that's all the APA do.
Oh, yeah, but they do it real. You know, like how you meant to throw a worked punch. Bradshaw doesn't actually hit people.
So this is from this week's Observer. Remember last week's WWF website version of the history of WCW, which we covered in the last episode. Contrast this with their version of the history of ECW, which I think will tie into some of that Heyman manipulation. For years, sports entertainment fans shared their opinions on how the industry rose from the depths of despair in 1995 to the billion-dollar entity it is today. It's simple. Once ECW began making a name for itself in 1995, fans started to care again. Tired of watching something that Vince McMahon eventually admitted was passé and of which the audience was tired of having its intelligence insulted, fans looked at ECW as a return to the roots of sports entertainment. ECW had violence. It had passion. Fans felt like they were part of the show. Best of all, ECW had attitude, and it provided the US a mix of barbaric commotion and athleticism only seen in Japan. It's no coincidence that the Big Two began seeing ECW as an innovative influence. ECW helped win back old school fans and helped change the industry for good. Gone were the days of Saturday morning wrestling on local channels. Gone were the days of good guys kissing babies and shaking hands. And gone were the gimmicks better suited for children's theatre. Thank ECW for that. And thank ECW for turning Aldo Montoya into just incredible. And showing us the true talent of the Dudley Boys, Taz, Rhino, Lance Storm, Raven, Tommy Dreamer, and Rob Van Dam, to name but a few, and for displaying the true genius of Paul Heyman. Today, the magic is back and then some. Heyman's creativity is backed up by Stephanie McMahon Helmsley and her billions of dollars. It's a winning combination, one that provides some hardcore, close-to-the-heart theatre that defined ECW, this time on a much grander stage.
Yeah, because the WCW history article was more like, those guys were crap.
It was a smelly organisation run by smelly people that had one good thing, and then that thing fell
apart. And they even stole that. Yeah, that really feels like Heyman. I bet Heyman made himself very familiar with the online team. But yeah, the sort of the headline of the whole Heyman manipulation bit is maybe he pitched Stephanie to buy in kayfabe his promotion and be the brand owner of that, because he knew that ECW would be more protected if it was linked to Stephanie's on-screen persona and backstage influence as well.
A bit of a correction from last week's Observer newsletter as well, because David reported that Kid Cash had signed. Turns out he hasn't. He think he got himself confused with Kid Romeo, who is under WCW contract at the moment. Jim Ross did a lengthy press conference on the 12th of July. No major new ground broken. Said that ECW may not have had the number of fans that WCW had, but WCW eroded its fan base by the way they did business, and the ECW fan base was much more vocal and exuberant about the product. Talked about Sting, saying at 42, Sting had other priorities in his life like his family and wasn't interested in going back on the road. Said there was interest in Flair and Goldberg, but the economics aren't there. Said a lot of talent that hasn't been used on TV they have under contract, like the Johnny the Bull types, will likely be sent to HWA, OVW, and IWA, and said the company made a mistake in letting them get rusty. Said that it wasn't time to introduce them on television because fans have so many new characters already all at once to get interested in. Unless it's someone really major, this is probably the worst time to introduce a new character. Said the goal was still long-term to have 2 set promotions, each with 1 weekly primetime show, but there is no timetable for that to happen.
That's fair. I think JR at this time is actually really quite interesting in these, I guess, more shooty interviews things, these Ross Report on the website. It's called the Ross Report, wasn't it?
Ross Report, yeah.
Sting, 42 years old. Oh, he's probably got to focus on his family now.
Yeah, he's an old man at this point.
That is. All right, you're entering your prime as a WWE champion.
Oh, I think it's time you got a WrestleMania main event, actually. Said that there were other things have taken priority. There's been no thought on the women's title, but figured at some point there would be a good shot at a tournament. So yeah, we actually haven't really talked about this at this point, but Chyna has left the company. They decided not to re-up her contract. She was the WWF Women's Champion. That means that belt just no longer exists in the company at this point. We won't see it until our second to last pay-per-view. It's on Survivor Series, where they crown a new champion. Said the locker room situation in Tacoma was uncomfortable, but has gotten better since then, and there have been no issues with anyone in WCW that have been serious, with the exception of Buff Bagwell. Joni Laura, speaking of, was on Boston radio doing an interview where she said she was both excited and scared to no longer be Chyna. Said she was surprised when WWF informed her they were calling off negotiations and she wants to continue wrestling. She blamed the purchase of WCW and the monopoly of the Major League business as the reason she didn't get the offer she wanted. She said the WWF didn't allow her to move forward. Translated, she wanted to not work house shows and have the body of the week off to concentrate on getting acting roles while still maintaining a highly paid wrestling contract, and it just didn't work.
I mean, it's a shame, isn't it? Because she had a very good charisma and star power as a wrestler. I don't think it would translate to being an actor.
No, she was getting acting roles. She's in Frasier.
Yeah, but is she there as Chyna the actor, or is she there as Chyna the WWF star?
Yeah, WWF superstar Chyna. Yeah,
like Rock was able to break out of WWF star The Rock in the month because realistically that will last a year.
Yeah,
you see Stone Cold's acting career went more and more towards the bargain bin DVD bucket.
Yeah, and it started there basically.
Yeah.
There is more fear of job security in the locker room now than ever before, with so many wrestlers having been signed and the feeling there's no other place to work. Because of that feeling that unless you're a tippity-top guy, it's out of sight, out of mind, and many wrestlers are either hiding serious injuries or downplaying them so they aren't off TV and forgotten about. In addition, for similar reasons, those who know they are saying the steroid use because of the pressure to look good and get a spot is at an all-time high.
Yeah, I think people like Billy Kidman enter the invasion quite lean and finish it quite not lean.
Notice he's got new gear on this episode as well. He's ditched the jean shorts and the wife beater. That was a direct from WWF because your gear stinks. You need to wear biker shorts. Here's from the Ross Report. He said he expects WWF to start running 2 house shows every Saturday and Sunday, an A show and a B show starting in October so that more of the roster can get work. Bearing in mind, their house show business isn't doing great at the moment, and their answer to that, because they've got so many people now, is just to do more house shows.
Well, I guess in their head, we'll make more money because we're running more shows, but fewer people will attend all those shows.
Yeah,
at the time, most of their money is from live events, right?
Yes, it will be, yeah.
So
maybe, yeah, absolutely.
So they're like, well, this is actually really important. Now they've got the luxury of going, let's only do like 1-2 live events a week, and they're both TV tapings because they've got all the TV money.
To your point as well about Jim Ross being very open and honest on the Ross Report and doing that press conference and stuff, he has done a series of recapping 2001 with Conrad on Grilling JR. He is so brutal about this time frame. He is like, it's the worst the creative has ever been. And he was like, and it's not even just the benefit of hindsight. He's there like, at the time, I was telling them, this is bad.
Yeah.
What we are doing is really bad. And it's amazing to hear that now because you hear him on these shows. He is selling this like no one's business.
Unless it's an APA match. But yeah, I mean, that's the mark of a professional, right?
This will likely avoid any massive cuts, and the company has not gone to 2 crews and will likely have happened, just wouldn't have happened with such a large roster. As you can see from the June business comparisons, and they've remained constant in July, arena business is general on a way down from the peak period. The roadshows are still profitable because they are routed in a way to minimize travel expenses in most cases. While Raw ratings have come up and the Rock is returning, the movement of house show business, which I would expect to happen, hasn't yet. Until Rock comes back, and really until the next few weeks, we won't know exactly what the current angles mean or how much the Rock adds. Triple H has been going to TVs the past 3 weeks, helping with the booking of the shows. He's been told by his doctors and all the traveling was getting behind on rehab, and to stop leaving every week or his return to the ring will be delayed. He's taking the hint and won't be around for much now.
Oh wow! So we can thank Triple H for some of this all-time bad creative.
Triple H, who is head of creative now, was here in 2001, adding his 2 pennies into what the creative should be.
Well, this is him getting his foot in the door.
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing this since 1997.
Yeah, and wouldn't get an official title until like 2011.
Yeah.
It's just all sitting in the rooms, giving nudges this way and that.
Fashion faux pas at the pay-per-view. Rob Van Dam, unbeknownst to him, when he got his airbrush tights, had a skull on it, which is Austin's gimmick. The feeling on Van Dam was mixed after the show. Many thought he was awesome since his match stole the show.
Yes.
Others thought he didn't know how to work.
What?
And wouldn't be able to adapt if he didn't have the right opponents like Jeff Hardy.
God. Well, then maybe just book him against the right opponents. Isn't that what you would... Don't book him against the wrong opponents. Isn't that what booking is? Putting people together who you know will work well together from an athletic and character standpoint.
And for some reason on this show, we put Raven and William Regal together. The whole storyline, we've actually touched on this before because DDP has said as much. The whole storyline with Angle and especially Austin hugging Vince McMahon is an inside joke on Diamond Dallas Page. Yes. When Page first cut his deal with Vince and Vince went to shake his hand, Page hugged Vince like they were longtime best friends, so they've made a storyline out of it.
Look, sometimes stuff is funny.
Hulk Hogan claimed on the 24th of July that he's put on hold all plans to run a promotion for at least 6 months, citing that there isn't interest among the major TV networks. Days earlier, people representing Hogan were still talking with a lot of people in wrestling and talking about a company where the key players would be Hogan, Jimmy Hart, Sting, Bret Hart, Roddy Piper, Kevin Sullivan, Sable, and Chyna.
I guess Chyna's out there, isn't she? She's a free agent right now.
Yeah, exactly,
Maybe WWE should agree terms with her too.
Sandman has claimed on a radio show...
No, sorry, on that. Just bring Chyna in and she can beat up all the WCW guys they don't like.
That's a really good point because
if she wants to work with the men.
Because that's why she left. She doesn't want to be in the women's division. She's like, if I can't be the men's champion, then I'm leaving. So yeah, she could just go in and just beat up all the WCW guys. It's not like they're getting over anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, Hulk Hogan, we've been tracking this one for the last couple of episodes. It's currently dead in the water. However, Sandman has claimed on a radio show that he signed a contract with a guy from Evansville, Indiana, to start a full-time company, which will have himself, Kurt Hennig, Mike Rotunda, Sabu, Public Enemy, Mikey Whipwreck, Steve Corino, Tracy Smothers, Nova, Chris Chetty, Balls Mahoney, Jack Victory, Francine, Simon Diamond, Dawn Marie, Little Guido, and Tony Mamaluke as some of its top guys. The plan is to run a 3-weekend show loops like ECW did. They already have a debut at the ECW Arena scheduled for the 11th of August.
So that's essentially the ECW roster, but without Rob Van Dam at that time.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and Kurt Hennig is also there, yeah. Yeah, so another new one. We'll have to keep an eye and see how that one gets on.
Yeah, not a good track record so far with new promotions. Wrestlers claiming they've got new promotions starting.
Stevie Ray. CZW and JAP Wrestling in the Jersey area are having a promotional feud. I haven't mentioned a lot of CZW at the moment, but actually they got a TV deal for a little bit. They were taking over the old ECW slots. But I wanted to read this one out here because Mark and Jay Briscoe, who are working for both groups, have sided with CZW since it has TV, and John Zandig gave them their first break.
Mark Briscoe must be like 14 at this point.
I think he was a kid when he started. He was like 19 maybe when he first started in.
I feel like Ring of Honor's first show is touch and go because Mark is too young.
Maybe he was 19 at Ring of Honor's first show then because it was touch and go whether he could actually do it. Maybe
Let's have a look at Mark Briscoe.
How old is he?
Not Mark Ronson, Google. Okay, so Mark Briscoe was born in 1985.
The same age as me then. Which
so
means
in 2001 he's 16.
Yeah, he's 16. CZW, man. There was an incident at the ECCW show in Bellingham, Washington, I guess. A group of ICP fans were heckling the wrestlers all night. Steve Corino worked the main event and got into a confrontation with one of the fans. The report we got back was the fan took a swing at Corino, who fired back and punched him in the eye, and Corino continued to punch him until wrestlers pulled him off. Raw drew, so the following night's Raw drew a 5.35 rating and an 8.6 share, which translates to 6.95 million viewers. It was the 5th highest rated Raw of the year and represents an amazing 31% increase in viewership since the show bottomed out on the 11th of July.
Wow. Oh, it bottomed out on the 11th of July.
I think that's wrong. I think that might be 11th of... Oh, no, it's 11th of June. June's
yes,
the 6th.
yeah. So the invasion storyline, and maybe you could say the babyface return of Stone Cold, has freaking... That's insane. A 30% increase on TV ratings. In the summer as well.
So Dave's...
people usually go out more.
Well, which is what WF said as well. Like, that's one of the reasons why SmackDown ratings are down, is because people are... It's summer now.
And Brian Alvarez pointed out.
It was summer during the boom period as well.
It's summer most years.
So Dave writes here, he's not sure whether the increase, obviously you get the post-pay-per-view bump anyway. And obviously there was a big angle at the pay-per-view, so that's going to contribute. But also, at the start of the show, they were teasing The Rock. And that The Rock is coming back. The Rock's not on that show, but they basically do announce The Rock's going to be back on next week's show. So Dave's like, I don't know if a lot of it is the excitement of that. We'll see how next week goes. But really, the career is going to be 3 weeks after that to see how The Rock actually does. SmackDown drew a 3.94 rating and a 7 share, a number almost identical to the previous week. For whatever reason, the invasion angle hasn't had the same effect on the SmackDown number as it has on the Raw number.
That is weird.
It is weird, isn't it? Like, Raw's ratings are skyrocketing because of the invasion, and SmackDown just remains the same.
And this is a time when... you would get the top stars on both shows. Storylines and feuds would continue from Raw to SmackDown back to Raw again. That is, I can't explain that.
SmackDown in Pittsburgh. One interesting result on Heat is that Bob Holly pinned Mike Awesome clean. The WWF talent, read that, The Undertaker, that had worked with Awesome had not been impressed, and I guess this is the result. So yeah, Mike Awesome, you won't be seeing much more of him. This will probably be our last appearance of Mike Awesome on the podcast. So, I haven't covered this story as well because I didn't know how big it was going to get. But I thought I would read this one because it is a bit of an insight into the man, I guess. But there is a story about an Atlanta Gold Club that is currently being investigating for racketeering.
What's a gold club?
Like a strip club, basically.
Oh.
It's being investigated for racketeering.
Okay.
And one of the people that they were asked to do some like depositions for this was Eric Bischoff.
Okay.
So Eric Bischoff got tons of press this week in regards to the Atlanta Gold Club racketeering trial. On Monday the 23rd, Jana Pelnis, 29, a former dancer under the stage name Frederique, testified that she provided sexual favors for Eric Bischoff's wife after the couple came to the club one evening, then invited her to a nearby hotel.
Well, that took a juicy turn mid-sentence. I was going to be like, oh, yeah, of course, Eric. Not of course, but, you know, you bring up this story. Like you can assume where the accusations are going to go.
Yeah.
The wife.
She testified that Bischoff gave her $200 after she returned to the bar and that owner Steve Kaplan subsequently gave her an additional $800. Damn. Bischoff testified the following day. He said on March 21st, 1999, he and his wife took Pelnis to a local hotel where the two women had sex as he watched. Well, that's what he believes happened.
Well, but Bischoff said this.
Yeah.
He's on record as...
Yeah.
So who did he take to? His wife and...
And the dancer, yeah. He testified that everything was a blur because he consumed massive quantities of alcohol earlier in the evening. He said he didn't recall whether or not there was intercourse, but said he believed it was a twosome between the girls. He said that he paid Pelnis either $75 or $100 upon returning her to the club. Hold on a second. Eric doesn't know what the hell happened or how much money he gave to this girl, but he knows the exact date in which the incident occurred. I couldn't even tell you the exact date of today. That's Dave's interjection. Anyway, he claimed the money was not for sex, but rather for drinks, and because she gave them a private show at the club earlier. He said his belief was the sex between Pelnis and his wife was consensual. Bischoff also testified that he consumed perhaps as many as 20 drinks on that particular evening, and he doesn't even remember driving to the hotel.
So he drunk drove? Is that not a felony?
Not in America, I guess. It's 1999. That's 1999 for you.
Wow.
Cuck Chair Bischoff.
Well, I guess it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's his wife in the ring.
Yep.
Is he a manager? Do a false finish?
Yeah, yeah. No,
interference finish,
not going to
guess.
kink shame, of course. So
No, but you
I know.
You don't have to kink shame. But he is potentially, allegedly. How many times do I have to qualifying words to throw in?
Sorry,
here?
I won't make this one a short.
Lying about paying a woman for sex.
Yeah. That may or may not.
Because that's not kink shaming. that's a clear law being broken.
And drink driving.
So he's just saying, hey, we all just got together and we banged.
Yeah.
Or I watched them bang.
I watched them bang.
And no money changed hands. But the lady is saying, I feel like I was paid money to do that thing as a service. Thus, yeah. Sexy work.
Thumbs up for this show. 53.6%.
Which show the Bischoff's wife? We're on Invasion now. Yeah, it's also what it's called.
53.6% thumbs up, 21.3 thumbs down, 25.1 in the middle. Want to have a guess what the best match went to?
Oh, RVD versus Jeff Hardy.
Absolutely. Do you want to have a guess what the worst match went to?
Oh, I always struggle on this. I mean, knowing the Wrestling Observer audience, this is the wrong answer, but I think it's what they would have said. Earl versus Nick.
It was number 2.
Really? That's the best match.
It is.
Okay, so it won't be X-Pac Kidman, it won't be Raven Regal. It won't be the... Is it the women's?
I was 4th.
Huh. So it's gonna... Is it the APA O'Hare
Didn't make
the trios?
Trios match. Shoguns and Albert versus Team WCW was voted the worst match on this show, followed by Hebner versus Patrick, followed by Raven versus Regal, followed by the Women's Bra and Panties match, followed by X-Pac versus Kidman, which also came 3rd in the best matches.
Yeah. Yeah, so eventually you will get into the best matches, but quite a few stinkers on this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. For a show that I've got a lot of nostalgic love for, not a great show top to bottom.
But that's almost part of the charm.
It is, isn't it? When I'm watching Raven versus William Regal, which goes on way too long, I'm loving it.
And when you say way too long, you mean 4 minutes.
That match is not 4 minutes. That match is like 10 minutes, surely.
You carry on. I'll see if I can find the length.
Just a few weeks ago...
That's what allegedly. Bischoff also said. Allegedly.
Just a few weeks ago, the World Wrestling Federation appeared to be on its way down. Bad booking, lack of making fresh stars, all the usual reasons. Then, as pro wrestling shows, the right angle can turn it all around. The Invasion pay-per-view from the Gund Arena in Cleveland appears to have been a major success based on 3 things happening. 1. ECW was injected into the inspirational angle. 2. The booking of the inspirational angle, once head writer Stephanie McMahon and Paul Heyman got involved as characters, suddenly got inspired. And 3. They gave the fans what they wanted. The Steve Austin that sold tickets. Preliminary indicators such as attendance at the famous Players Theatres in Canada as compared to usual shows, volume of feedback and television ratings, all positive signs of a turnaround. But regarding point 3, that was taken away. As a show, it was just that. A show. 1 great match, a good main event, a few average, slightly better than average, and a few bad matches underneath. More bad than good, but it was sold as a 1-match show. The 2 most important things about the show were getting Kurt Angle over as the top babyface, which seemed to have been accomplished, and the turn of Austin back heel after just 6 days. The end result of the first Austin turn at WrestleMania less than 4 months ago was a downturn in almost every facet of business, ratings, merchandise, attendance, and pay-per-view all dropped, in most cases significantly. The tease of turning him back turned things around remarkably fast, in conjunction with a strong television main event angle. So why he was turned back, especially in a business where over the past few years, as evidenced by people like Austin, Bill Goldberg, Sting and Ric Flair, that turning a popular babyface heel doesn't give you heat that negates a box office value. Fans simply won't pay to boo someone they don't feel like booing, so they just stay home or they don't watch.
Yeah, I mean, you can always say when a babyface starts to get those inkling of boos, then or maybe their cheers aren't as loud, freshen up their character. Like, you could make that argument for Cody Rhodes at any point in his career. You could turn him heel and you could get away with it. But Stone Cold was just so white hot as a babyface. You never even got boos for him when he was booked at the expense of everyone else on the roster. We'll
get to this when we get to the main events, but I've gone through quite a few podcasts that are talking about the Steve Austin heel turn, and Jim Ross in particular gives a reason as to why Austin turns heel at this show. So that's a bit of a hook and tease for the end of the show.
Well, creatively, I can totally see where he's coming from. I think creatively, it's the more interesting thing to do. I think Steve wanted to do something new. I totally understand that. But sometimes people just want to see their favorite people kicking ass.
He's only just come back.
Yeah.
He came back late 2000 after being gone for a full year. And like 6 months later, he's like, I've got to turn heel.
The match was, this is the Raven Regal match, 6.5 minutes.
Honestly, it felt like 15. That match goes on. It's well bad. There are a few reasons. First off, unlike the first time Austin turned heel when he had no opponents, except for resurrecting an old Undertaker feud, and the company failed to pull the trigger on creating new opponents, instead focusing on the Power Trip vignettes, which turned into a ratings killer, he is loaded with opponents now. Austin had what should be big money programs lined up with The Rock and Triple H, and with Angle's turn, a third program. Not to mention Undertaker is still in that position if they need something in quick in the event of an injury, since the last program was left open-ended. The heel side, due to the interpromotional angle, was being headed up by Booker T, DDP, and Rhino. Clearly, from a marquee value standpoint, it's totally unbalanced. Second, for the main storyline, the idea that ECW-WCW stole the WWF Championship is a strong program. The Austin turn had more impact than the other possibilities, where Angle or Jericho, since the show is basically end with an ECW-WCW winning the last match due to a member of the team turning. Clearly, this is being booked as a copy of the NWO, as a very similar finish to when Hogan turned. The decision also appears to have made to not go with Austin vs. Rock as the main event of SummerSlam in San Jose, and instead do the title versus title gimmick with Austin going against new WCW champion Kurt Angle, who wins the WCW championship on the 24th of July SmackDown in Pittsburgh.
That's bizarre, isn't it? Why wouldn't you do heel Austin versus babyface Rock? Because that is probably the best way to make heel Austin get over.
I completely agree. It's amazing they don't do it. In this year, we are not going to get that match at one of the pay-per-views. Even when we get to Vengeance, where it seemed like we are heading to Austin versus Rock, we don't go that way. We go with Jericho instead. I think they do have a match on a house show when Rock's WCW champion and Austin is WWF champion, but it's on a house show. It's not on like pay-per-view or anything.
What a weird sentence. WCW champion The Rock taking on WWF champion Stone Cold Steve Austin on a house show.
So we will talk about this on an upcoming episode, on our next episode. But Kurt Angle wins the WCW championship from Booker T. He won't have it for very long. I think he loses it back to Booker T the following Raw. Where do we get to? Rock's first big match back, which will be SummerSlam, should increase business just by his return, just as Austin's returns, just for run-ins, increased business on 2 shows last year. Then you're still saving that first Rock versus Austin match for down the line and theoretically have another big money show. Wow. As it turned out, Austin did the main event with 3 broken bones in his back and 2 broken bones in his hand, courtesy of the bump he took at the King of the Ring show where Booker T threw him over the announcer's table.
Booker can't work.
Where do we get? Also, Jericho worked with a hyperextended elbow, and Kurt Angle had whiplash and a black eye.
My God. You couldn't tell, though, really, watching that main event. I think all 3 guys are excellent in it.
The in-ring stars of Invasion were Rob Van Dam, who won the hardcore title from Jeff Hardy in a show-stealing match, and Angle working as a face for the first time in a high-profile WWF main event, swearing on air to give him a babyface edge. It was also interested the positioning of matches, as the Bra and Panties tag team match was put on as the semi-final. Overall, for a show with so much hype, the undercard was a disappointment. Titles were largely rendered useless, as were match results. They actually had a good story of both teams wanting to win the majority of matches, but there should have been something tangible. Maybe it was too early for the Raw time slot, but something of significance, like maybe matchmaking capabilities for 1 hour of each show if the heel side won. That way, Austin's turn would have been more impactful, as not only did they get the champ, they got the power to book matches. It would have added significance to the undercard matches. If they aren't going to run 2 separate companies, they desperately need to whittle down the number of belts. There's no need for 2 tag team champions, especially when neither is that good and a unification match has already been held with one team going over. Nor 2 cruiserweight champions, since it's a division that WWF has traditionally shit on to begin with, and the fans have been taught for years not to care about. If it wasn't for Van Dam and Hardy, it probably would have been considered a bad show, but good and bad on the show is something best determined in a few weeks if the Austin angle draws money this time. It drew a sellout of 17,019 fans, with 15,000 paying.
Yeah, because you've got the Rob Van Dam match, which is, like, you know, it's a terrific match.
So good.
One of the best matches of the year, I guess. Definitely in the top 10, right? Then you've got the main event, which I really like. I think it's a really dramatic match, and you know, when it all breaks down at the end, it's really exciting.
It gets really good when it does break down.
Then you've got Nick Patrick and Earl Hebner.
5 stars.
There's your freak show match. Yes, please. I'll take all of that you got, buddy. But then the rest of the card is like, well, this is a bit Raw.
It is. Well, I wrote a couple of times, this isn't even Raw. This is Sunday Night Heat.
Yeah.
Particularly the Raven Regal match. And I think, actually, I'd say the APA Palumbo and O'Hare match as well has got a bit of Sunday Night Heat stink about it.
Yeah, well, the APA, they won the tag belts 2 weeks ago. And just that they don't feel like tag team champions. They weren't in that mix of Hardys, Dudleys, Edge and Christian.
Yeah, well, they got Edge and Christian are busy.
Yeah.
Because they got the
Michaels
Michaels and Lance Storm match. A funny thing not noticeable on television is that the stage crew was still working on the set literally until the last minute. They were even working during the Heat match, sawing plywood and hammering it together to assemble the left side of the V ramp.
Well, they were doing Stephanie McMahon's face.
If you notice, Chavo Guerrero Jr. had to walk down the WWF walkway because the ECW-WCW ramp was not finished yet. The gate opened 30 minutes later because they were still putting up the floor seats. WWF traditionally likes to book 2 days in the arenas for pay-per-views, with the first day being the setup. They couldn't in this case because of the WNBA Rockers game the night before went long, since of the NSYNC experience, which featured a post-game party with the new NSYNC album. The cleanup crew didn't get started until 11 p.m. the night, which explains the timing problems. Now, we use a lot of the name ECW on this show. We even use the ECW music. WWF reached a temporary agreement 2 days before the show to use the ECW name through at the end of the month. Trustee Barbara Balba Strauss maintained that the ECW intellectual property was owned by the estate of ECW and controlled by her, and the WWF's usage of it up until that point had been unauthorized, particularly after she received complaint about its usage from ECW creditors. WWF upped its offer of $150,000 last week for the trademarks and the videotape library, which is turned down to $250,000, and agreed to send a non-refundable cash advance of $50,000 the first day of business after the agreement of the proposed purchase.
Well, you can't pay any more because that upsets the pay balance with Stone Cold.
Since thus far WWF appears to be the only interested party, Strauss, upon receiving the offer, waived the rights to take legal action against WWF for its previous unauthorized use of the ECW name. If other parties offers more for the ECW trademarks and videotape library, WWF would forfeit its cash advance. This agreement doesn't bind creditors to be unable to sue for alleged damages, but in the agreement, the WWF did indemnify Strauss against any possible legal action taken against them for using the trademarks during the period that it was unauthorized.
Okay, well that seems like a smart slapdash settlement almost, just for the time being. You said till the end of the month, so we're sort of mid-July, aren't we?
Yes.
End of July, so Just a week, really.
Pretty much. The WS legal team claims that nobody owns the ECW name because the trademarks have been abandoned when ECW went out of business and filed for bankruptcy because Paul Heyman, the owner of HHG, claimed to have abandoned his rights to the trademark before filing for the bankruptcy. I'm going to jump over now to Brian Alvarez's write-up here because he's got a bit more detail on this. In an extremely interesting side note, the WWF claimed in the document that when ECW filed for bankruptcy, they were, in essence, abandoning the name and trademarks. They claimed that this left the marks free for the WWF to use, much like a couch would be free for a person to take if left next to a dumpster.
Yeah.
Obviously, these statements aren't completely without legal merits.
Well, that to me just sounds more like they're stalling. That, like, they know that won't hold up. Yeah. They are trying to elongate the process so they can keep using the ECW name and claim they're doing it in good faith.
Yes. This also gave WWF the rights to use, this back to Dave now, this also gives WWF the rights to use any trademark name of a wrestling character, storyline, or character wrestling history from ECW and allowed WWF to fictionally portray on television that Stephanie McMahon is the owner of ECW, at least without the bankruptcy court's interference. Crikey, I've got more on this, actually. Barbara Balber-Strauss, the trustee of the ECW bankruptcy case, last week hired general counsel Sarah Shuck and Zelimir of White Plains, New York, to attempt to facilitate sale of the estate to the World Wrestling Federation, which we've gone through previously. It will not happen until 2003. That sale will officially go through. This is from Brian Alvarez on this. Heyman listed the WWF as his current employer and claimed they pay him $4,000 per month as a TV writer. This number sounds ridiculous. One theory is that Vince is having Paul pay back the $500,000 debt in whole, in part, by taking deductions in every paycheck.
Wow.
So
he's not just a writer, he's an on-screen talent, he was a commentator.
Yeah. I'd think Paul would have to have that listed in his filing if that were the case, but he didn't. There's no way that the WWF is only paying their writers $4,000 a month. He listed no deductions for tax payrolls, social security, or insurance, so he's apparently an independent contractor. He listed current expenditures as $1,100 a month, $500 for water and sewer, $300 for food, $200 for medical, and $100 for recreation. 2 matches were added at the last minute, Raven versus William Regal, and Big Show and Billy Gunn, and Albert versus Chris Kanyon, Hugh Morris, and Sean Stasiak. The idea was just to get more people on the show, but in the case of those 2 matches, less would have definitely been more, and didn't help but take away some time from some matches that could have benefited from more time.
Yeah, like Earl and Nick Patrick went like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That could have gone 10.
Honestly, with the work rate they were doing, yeah.
Earl's spear. Oh. I just want to keep... There were like 5 referees in each corner. Why isn't Earl spearing every single one of them?
Goldberg. So yeah, that is all of our news to lead us into the Invasion show itself. So, I did not watch this live, but I did watch it the following day because this was on Channel 4.
Yeah, it was. They even shouted us out at one point.
Yeah, it was on Channel 4. Next month, Channel 4 are going to announce that they are dropping WWF from their roster of shows. They're going to cancel their contract because of complaints received. But as Dave Meltzer points out in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, the day before that they made that announcement they were dropping it was when they aired the Brass Eye Pedophile special, which got like thousands upon way more complaints than anything that WWF got complaints to Channel 4 too. But they were like, hey, look, we've got too many complaints for this show. We're getting rid of it.
In Channel 4's defense, my former employer, I think the Brass Eye, if you're not familiar with Brass Eye's Pedophile special, Brass Eye was a very smart, very silly satirical news program.
It's so good.
Yeah. And they did a whole special, which ended the show. There was no way it was coming back after this. On the paedophile panic, because that was the big thing at the time. Pedophiles were everywhere.
Yeah. Are your children safe? I've got mine at work. And he opens up that filing cabinet and his kids are sleeping in it.
And it's so obviously a joke about the hysteria around paedophilia.
Yeah. This paedophile has disguised himself as a school to attract children.
Yeah, and there's CCTV footage of someone walking down a street disguised as a school. So,
I'm talking nonsense.
You've got Bra aside, Chris Morris, one of the great satirical comedy minds of all time. And Channel 4, I think, stick by that sort of humour despite all of the complaints.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think those are the kinds of complaints they're okay with. This is intentionally controversial, but it's proven a point about larger society. Do you want, when complaints come in about the Trish barking like a dog segment stuff, are you like, well, is that a commentary on misogyny? Or
yeah,
I think the Channel 4 people understandably are like, actually, this is very exploitative in the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Channel 4 wanted to get out of this WWF deal the moment that they got it. Because I just don't think that they got what they expected. I think they were getting World of Sport.
Yeah.
But what they got was WWF in 2000, and they have that Royal Rumble where they do the Miss Royal Rumble bikini contest, and Mae Young gets her fake tits out, and they were like, "Oh no, what have we got? What have we signed ourselves into?"
So World of Sport, of course, was the British wrestling, very classical style.
Big Daddy, Giant
Big Daddy, yeah, that ended in the late 80s, and still to this day, I will talk to TV executive people, and they still want that World of Sport.
Yeah, it's all they're interested in.
But you've not even touched WWE? You've never seen WWE?
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely in 2000, a lot of out-of-touch Channel 4 people probably thought, yeah, let's bring back the wrestling. It's a nice campy British tradition.
If you're ever wondering, like, why can't Rev Pro get a TV deal? Why can't Progress get a TV deal? Because that's not what TV won. What TV won is Giant Haystacks and Big Daddy back.
Mm-hmm. They want gladiators.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, exactly. So I watched this the following day, and I was watching it with a friend of mine, and he was a big Stone Cold guy. Hated the finish, and I couldn't get him to watch any other shows for the rest of this year. And the only show I can get him to watch was Vengeance 01, because again, it was like, because he thought Austin was going to win the title at the end of that show. And when Jericho wins, and because it's with Vince McMahon's help, he was like, I'm really just tapped out. He was pretty much tapped out this year anyway, but there was a couple of glimpses where he might... WrestleMania X7, I think, was really at the end for him as a wrestling fan.
And you're 15, 16 at this time?
Yes, I turned 15 at the end of 2000, yeah. So I turned 16 at the end of this year.
Yeah, and I'm 13 at this point. I didn't watch it live, though. But man, I was obsessed. I know we've covered the TV episodes over the last couple of episodes, but I didn't watch the pay-per-view until maybe 6 months later when I got it on Silvervision DVD.
Did you tape it on Channel 4?
I don't know.
Because I taped it. I set my VCR to record.
Maybe I did. I don't know. Did we have a VCR that would do that? It's not like you could... I'm a 13-year-old with unlimited access to VHS cassettes.
I was. So part of my paper round, I got 15 quid a week. My friends and I would sometimes... we would go down, buy CDs from Rusty's Records in town. But I would also go around to the pound shop and buy VHS tapes, because you could buy 5 for £1. And I filled them up with Simpsons. Because Simpsons was being shown twice a day on BBC Two. So I used to go there, set my VCR to record, and I would tape both the episodes. And I just had this entire collection of Simpsons on VHS.
Yeah, I think being a 13-year-old to a 15-year-old is very, very different.
Yeah, okay.
13-year-old in 2001, I probably had my paper round at this point, but only by 3 months from when I turned 13.
That's a good point, yeah.
So I've not got that mad disposable income.
Yeah. 15 quid a week. That was disposable income.
I don't think I know enough about VHS cassettes. I think that's something my dad handles.
I was obsessed with it.
I don't know about when TV shows are on. I know usually if I sit down for dinner, Simpsons is on, but am I using teletext?
No, you're getting the Radio Times every week. That's what we did. We got the Radio Times every Saturday to find out what was going to be on TV. And my Saturday was underlying what I'm going to record this week.
Yeah.
I had this huge VHS library of shit that I just recorded. I recorded loads of films. Anytime a film was on, I would tape it. I would just set because we had a VCR that had a timer on it. And I then got obsessed with, do you remember they had codes?
Yeah, my granddad had this.
Oh! Yeah. Used to love the code.
The Radio Times.
Get the Radio Times code, and on my VCR I was allowed to do this. You could just input the code in, and it would set it so it would record when that code came up and record that TV show. It wasn't as accurate though. It was actually more accurate to do the timings yourself than it was to rely on the codes.
Yeah,
I was obsessed with this sort of thing.
Well, I didn't have an older brother. So I was figuring this all out by myself. I didn't have a cool, nerdy group of friends. The internet didn't exist.
Yeah.
I say cool, nerdy. I didn't have a nerdy group of friends.
I will say, I was an island unto myself with this.
You had your brother.
He wasn't into this sort of thing.
But he had VHS and music and things he could just
that's
filter
true.
down
I
to
did.
you.
I did get a lot of music through him and my cousin because they're 6 years older than me. So a lot of my music taste is filtered down through there. But yeah, my love of just taping stuff on TV. My brother got so mad at me once because I taped over one of his tapes because I'd ran out of tapes. And I hadn't gone to town to buy some new ones yet. So I was like, oh, this one here, I don't think Ben's going to watch this. So I taped over it. And then he went to go and watch that tape. I can't even remember what I taped over now, but he was really mad at me that I taped over it, which is fair.
Men behaving badly. Episodes.
Which is fair. I had to tape over something of his. Why did I bring that up? Oh, that's right. Because it's not time to get into the show yet. What is number one at the box office?
Yeah! You remembered this week.
I did. I actually thought there wasn't going to be a new one because we literally just did the Raw 6 days ago. But we do have a new number one at the top of the box office and a new number one single.
So we had Shrek, and that was unseated by Moulin Rouge.
Nope, it was unseated by Tomb Raider.
Then we had Shrek again last week. So I'm guessing it's not Shrek again.
It's not Shrek again.
Which should have been the name of the sequel.
Not Shrek.
Shrek again.
I think I say not Shrek again.
Not Shrek again. That's what the new one should be called. 2001.
This is big.
Toy Story 2.
No, that's 2000.
This is big.
This is big. This is a franchise movie. And another big installment in the franchise. Does stall it though, I would say. I think this does what should have been. It is, now again a massive franchise. I say a massive franchise. It clearly does numbers for them because they keep making them. But
Tron.
No, the first movie stalled that franchise. Then they did another one, and that stalled the franchise. So then they brought in what's his face, Jared Leto.
Weirdly, them not making movies unstalls the franchise, and they make another one.
Just give it a couple of years, and there'll be someone being like, "They should make another Tron film." But no, this film here does stall the franchise out for a number of years.
So it had a couple of installments leading into this, and then it had and then they're still making them now.
Yep, sure are.
God, Meet the Fockers.
No, although new one of that is out this year.
American Pie.
No, sadly, not going one of those.
It's not Matrix Reloaded. It's none of the Lord of the Rings. None of the Harry Potters because they're at Christmas time.
Summer blockbusters.
Summer blockbusters. Is it Is it a superhero?
No.
Bit too. Not in that groove yet.
Not just yet. No.
Lots of superhero films. Wild Wild West only got one movie.
That was 1998 as well.
Is it Men in Black?
No, that was 1998. No,
like Men in Black 2.
Wild Wild West, the movie in 99. No, it's not Men in Black.
I'm gonna need more of a genre or actor
okay,
clue.
well, I was trying to get you down with the blockbuster route. When you think of summer blockbusters, there are certain names that you attach to the summer blockbuster.
Like actor names.
Oh, or behind the camera, maybe.
Spielberg? Munich?
Yeah, I mean, they're making more of them. It really did pass its peak at one point, though.
It's not Indiana Jones. Is it a Star Wars?
No. That's 99.
Oh god, this is annoying me now. Is it Amblin related?
So
is it an animated movie?
No, it is not animated. It is actually Amblin Entertainment is one of the production companies with Universal.
A Spielberg.
It's not Spielberg, but it's Spielberg adjacent.
Spielberg adjacent
because of his connection to the franchise.
Okay, so Indiana Jones. What a Spielberg. Transformers.
It's not.
Because he produced Transformers.
He did, yeah. Years and years later. What are some big Spielberg films?
Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Think of Spielberg
1941.
Of franchises that are still having movies made about them.
I don't know why I cannot think of a single one other than the Fast and Furious. Still having movies made about them. Scary Movie. It's all come back, hasn't it?
I mean, this franchise did have a movie out just last year.
Oh, you got to give me a bit more.
Laurie loves it.
I've said Transformers.
No. Think of the other thing that Laurie loves.
That's all he loves. He loves nothing else in this cold world. Dungeons and Dragons, Laurie likes?
No. Maybe another D word?
D? Dick?
Maybe, okay, let's go back to think of a Steven Spielberg film.
Drive. Is that what it's called? Duel. It begins with the letter D.
It does begin with the letter D.
This is like passing kidney stones.
Think of a Steven Spielberg movie that was released in the 90s.
That begins with the letter D.
No! But one of the big subject matters within it begins with the letter D that Laurie also loves.
Dragons?
Nope. Name me some Spielberg movies that came out in the 1990s. And
Hook.
don't say Schindler's List.
Hook. No. Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park. Oh no! Oh, that took way longer than I thought. Was it Lost World? Jurassic Park 3?
Yes, Jurassic Park 3, because it's Spielberg adjacent. He did not direct Jurassic Park 3.
I have just read a whole chapter on how Michael Ovitz packaged Jurassic Park. Because it was all the Michael Crichton connection.
Oh, man.
Because I think the story was Scorsese... No, that's... I'm thinking of Schindler. I'm actually thinking of Schindler's List that time. Spielberg wanted to do... Schindler's List was attached to Scorsese, and they effectively switched projects, which made way more sense given Spielberg's heritage.
Yes.
Oh, it was Goodfellas. That was it. Yeah, Goodfellas was with Spielberg, and Schindler's List was with Scorsese, and Ovitz convinced them to switch. Huh. Well, that's what Ovitz says.
Steven Spielberg directed... That would have been like way more fun.
I know, it'd be weird, wouldn't it?
It would have all been kids.
Yeah. It would have been Bugsy Malone.
So yes, it is Jurassic Park 3,
oh, God.
Which was a film that was made with an unfinished script, which is why its ending feels very flat.
The Marvel way.
Do you want to have a guess at what the number one song is at the top of the box office? At the top of the box office, top of the charts. It was last week's was Roger Sanchez's "Another Chance."
I've been listening to that since we last. So I guess it's not that again.
No.
Is it? I'll make this one quicker because that last one was so torturous. Are they English?
Yes.
Are they a group?
No.
So they're a solo artist?
Yes.
And they're a woman?
No.
They're a man?
Yes.
Is it Robbie Williams?
Yes.
Oh!
Hello.
Is it 2001, Robbie? What are we talking here? Is this the... Is it with Nicole? No, it's not a duet. So it's not with Kylie or Nicole.
No. But it is... You're sort of that right era, though.
Pre-Swing When You're Winning.
I think. I mean, I just sort of kind of quick Google there.
Is it the one with...
It does not appear on Sing When You're Winning, but would later be included on the Greatest Hits.
So is it what was the album after that? Escapology? Is it on Escapology?
No. So I think this was
the album before then.
But no, but this doesn't appear on an album. That's the point. So it's not on Sing When You're Winning, and then appears on the Greatest Hits. It was. I don't know if this will be a clue. A double A side.
Is it to do with a movie?
It is not.
So it's not Strong. It's not Something Beautiful. It's not the art like the Captain Mandalay one. It is the Captain.
What's it called?
I can't remember the name. Captain Mandalay. The Love of Captain Mandalay.
Are you talking about Captain Corelli's Mandolin?
That's it.
It's not that, no. But the song is called "The Road to Mandalay."
Is that not the? Does that not have a tie-in music video with Captain Corelli's Mandolin?
Let me go have a look here. Music video. The video for The Road to Mandalay shows Robbie Williams and four friends driving a Jensen FF in a Ford transit van, alternatively goofing around and scoping out of a money transport van while people who are on transport the money to in Marseille. When the robbery goes down, Williams and his efforts dress with masks covering their faces and run into the transport van with a truck. I don't remember that bit from Captain Corelli's mandolin.
Sure,
probably
whatever.
not. But you knew the name.
I knew the bit.
Yeah. And you knew the name, that there was a film that sounded a little bit like the word Mandalay.
Not the most traditional route of getting there.
No, it was...
That was easier than Jurassic Park, though. Jeez, the clues he gave for that were naff.
So yes, it was Robbie Williams with the double A side, Eternity and The Road to Mandalay.
Yeah.
Right, shall we get into the show itself?
Let's do it.
Because we talked about this a little bit earlier, old footage of wars. My lack of history knowledge means I have no idea who a lot of these people are, but it's that guy going, I hate war and I despise war.
Yeah, I think it's Roosevelt, the US, or Truman, whatever. But that's definitely Stalin on the screen. Stalin doing a little Nazi salute. So we've covered this before. This is one of the few pay-per-views we've done twice in the WrestleTalk Extra series. Do you remember when we did it?
During the pandemic, wasn't it?
We did it in 2019.
Did we really?
That's what my notes say.
I could have sworn we
Document created 2019.
I thought I recorded this at home.
Yeah, same.
Wow.
So we did it in 2019. I've got my original notes.
Nice.
It is Franklin D. Roosevelt. Promo about war. I have seen war and I hate war.
Yeah. And I hate war.
But yeah.
So yeah, we've got this amazing, there's a lot of quotes from the baddies here, which is Stephanie Shane and Paul Heyman. Stephanie's, no force of nature or no act of God will stop this invasion from happening. It's I wrote in here, this feels epic, considering it is 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Actually, it's only 2 weeks. It is 2 weeks of story we've got here, but this feels like this has been going on for months on end. And when I watch this, because I've only got access to Sunday Night Heat and 4 pay-per-views a year, I thought this has been going on for ages, weeks of television.
That's the power of the video package.
Yeah. So then it's all WCW and ECW, and then we get Austin making his return and how he's going to lead Team WWF. And we get that a clip from Paul Heyman's sensational go-home promo that he does on SmackDown. Death to sports entertainment. Death to the WWF. I think that is something, Dave mentioned it earlier, I think that is what this show is missing, are stakes. It is, we're at war, but there's no what does that mean though? Because I remember when this show ended and team, spoilers, the Alliance win, I was like, well, what does that mean for Raw? And I then went on to WWF.com, which I used to do every Tuesday to find out what the results of the previous week's Raw or that week's Raw was. And it's not talking about it's WCW Raw or ECW Raw. It's just still WWF Raw. So I didn't feel like I got anything satisfactory out of this. But Michael Cole's been like, I could lose my job. Or Jim Ross has been like, this is a battle of philosophies. I like sports entertainment, but what WCW wants to do is boring wrestling, and ECW wants to do dangerous wrestling. And I can't imagine that's what will take over.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. Everything stays the same after this.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree that there should have been stakes.
But PlayStation are presenting the invasion here. And then we get this awesome stage, which is this giant V that was being constructed as just before the show started, which could nearly spell trouble for Trish Stratus later on in this show. JR says the show is sold out. We recovered in the last episode. Was not sold out a week before. They had front row tickets over, but they have papered it by about 2,500 people to fill it out.
Oh, really? That wasn't I thought the Stone Cold Babyface term would get everyone in.
Well, I think that has sold some tickets, but they said there's about 15,000 paid of the 2,000 of the 17,000, and I feel really bad as well. I don't want to actually kind of highlight this a little bit, but I feel bad for the lad at WWF New York when we cut across. We get to WWF New York, because it's awful to see. But look at this guy here in the APA t-shirt. He's so happy, so excited. He's on camera. Oh no! My t-shirt rode up.
The tummy's out.
Oh, the tummy fell out, and I've got to pull it down. Always pounding ass. Yeah. Our opening contest is Mike Awesome and Lance Storm taking on Edge and Christian.
They're already in the ring.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
Sunday Night Heat.
But What is it? Is it edited though? Did they come out while we're getting the clips of time?
So I think they do that thing on like Sunday Night Heat where the entrance of the first match, half of them make their entrance at the end of that show. But by the pay-per-view now, we're getting started.
So they're already in there in the ring.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess they are. Oh no, wait, I've gone too far. So all these shots here.
Yeah.
Are they in the ring?
I think maybe they're just outside the ring around this area here.
Well, it's an immediate way to not establish people as a threat, to not give them an actual entrance.
It also does. We had this conversation on the last episode. Is Mike Awesome 6'6"?
I mean, he looks tall in there.
But he doesn't look like much taller than Lance Storm.
Okay, how tall is Lance Storm?
I said this to Dave Bradshaw. He himself is a tall man.
Oh, yeah.
He's like
really
6'8".
Yeah.
And I said, do you think that Mike Awesome is 6'6"? And he said, yeah, in lifts. Maybe he's like 6'6" at wrestler height.
Dave is so funny when he's catty. Well, according to this, Lance Storm is 6 foot. So we can't really... the wrestler heights and weights are generally very worked. There's Fink in the background there. Fink height.
Is this the best way? Yeah, so you see them when they're sort of like standing. There you go. That's a good way to see how much taller Mike Awesome is than Lance Storm, even with a little bit of forced perspective there.
So Howard Finkel is allegedly 5'8". I would say Fink is... I mean, maybe that does mean Lance is 6 foot. And that means Mike Awesome's like 6'4", right? He's half a head taller.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe 6'4", 6'3", 6'4". Either way, WF think he's small.
We can't tell because wrestlers lie about their heights all the time.
I suppose my point is, and this really only hit me during this match, and I think it's of this watch through rather, and maybe it's because we watched the Raws building up to this. Why isn't this? Because they're representing ECW here. They are Lance Storm and Mike Awesome defected to ECW.
Yeah, well, they started off WCW.
They did, but they left WCW and joined ECW. That was part of that ECW promo segment that we had.
But then they joined with WCW 2 segments
as part
later.
of the alliance. But they are representing ECW here.
Okay.
But Mike Awesome and Lance Storm are a WCW tag team. Lance Storm was in an ECW tag team with Just Incredible. They were the Impact players. I know this because A, I watched the show, but also B, when they do the ECW reunion segment on Raw, the Impact players hit their pose together. Why isn't this just the Impact players versus Edge and Christian?
That's too confusing. Just Incredibles with the X Factor.
He's left them. They bullied him out of the group. I watched Sunday Night Heat in preparation for this show.
I mean, if you want to ask questions, what happened to that Mike Awesome hardcore title match?
Well, he lost the title to Jeff Hardy. Storm wants to be serious for a moment. He says it was a defining moment for a variety of reasons. A variety I will now detail. And Edge and Christian come out. Cole is our commentator on this show. It's Jim Ross and Michael Cole. Michael Cole is so bad on this show.
Yeah, there's eras of Michael Cole where it's like there's bad new Michael Cole, then there's good Michael Cole because he gets a great balance with Taz, then there's bad Michael Cole for ages because it's just him parroting what Vince is telling him to say. This is just bad green Michael Cole.
Finding your feet, Michael Cole.
Yeah.
He's only been doing this for a couple of years. Like, so he replaced JR in 99 when JR had to leave for Bell's palsy.
Which means when he says, this is what fans have waited years for, JR could say that line and I would give him the benefit of the doubt and just think about the whole night.
Yeah.
But when Cole says it, I just go, Edge and Christian versus Lance Storm and Mike Awesome. I've been waiting my whole life to see this.
There is a sign in the crowd that says offbeat shenanigans. So that got over. But we do have a bit of a nasty spill early on here at 6 minutes and 56 seconds.
I saw another sign that says, I heart the Olsen twins.
How old were they at this point?
I wouldn't. I would have been 13. I think it would have been appropriate for me to say that.
You and the son.
Yeah.
This match is about momentum.
Wait.
Oopsie-daisy.
He got all of it. He got too much of it.
Awesome trips Christian when he's on the top rope. That leads to the heat segment. They work over the midsection. Storm whips Christian into the bottom corner, like underneath the ropes, which I thought was a really cool spot. Hot tag to Edge. Awesome gets a visual pin on Edge, but Storm has a visual pin on Edge, but Mike Awesome's chatting with the referee, and Christian reverses that pressure to Edge gets a 2 count. Storm leapfrogs Edge as he goes for a spear, and he hits Awesome. Super kick to Edge as he pushes Christian out of the way. Christian and Storm spill to the outside. Edge kicks out and a crowd pops huge. Awesome bomb attempt, but Christian spears him. Edge falls into the pin. They win. WWF go up 1-0.
Christian uses his brother's move, JR says, to win the match, because there's a bit of tension between Edge and Christian as well.
Yeah, there's a storyline we have sort of paused ever so slightly because we've got to do this invasion crap instead, but we are going to unpause that as we go forward here.
Yeah, Edge won the King of the Ring trophy. Christian is jealous of that. And when they come out, Christian's like gripping the trophy. And then him using Edge's move, it's like, yeah, there's something there which is good. I actually thought this was a decent match.
Me too.
It would have been, more of a TV match, I'd say, but that's more of just there's no story surrounding it.
Yeah.
These guys were feuding.
Did a couple of angles.
Segment?
Yeah, they had the angle where they cost Mike Awesome the Hardcore Championship, and then they cut a promo on Lance Storm, and they had a match on Raw on the Go Home show.
Yeah. So, but it went 10 minutes, which for this era is a lifetime.
Well, that's what makes it not feel like it's a TV match. Because if this was a TV match, it would have gone 90 seconds.
With interference.
And a non-finish.
But that's the third longest match on the card. It's it's the RVD Hardy match. And then, of course, it's the 10-man tag.
Yeah. The other spot there of the tag team miscommunication or sort of like storyline is Edge taking the bullet for Christian when Lance Storm went to go hit that super kick. This is going to be a running theme throughout the night. There is some confusion as to whether or not to count the match on Sunday Night Heat in terms of what the score is at the end of the night. Yeah. It's got that episode, that Survivor Series where Raw won all the matches apart from that pre-show match that the New Day won for SmackDown, but they never make mention of it, apart from the New Day. But Chavo Guerrero beat Scotty 2 Hotty on the pre-show on Sunday Night Heat. And Shane McMahon says it later on, where he's like, technically, we are actually currently winning.
Well, that's a fun heel thing to do, but Shane doesn't play it like he's a sniveling heel. He's just Kendall.
Dave Meltzer would say, match had its ups and downs, some sloppiness early, built well, and good near falls at the end. 2.5 stars.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
Brian Alvarez didn't start out great as Christian almost killed himself on a botched dive to the outside. He managed to get to his feet about 30 seconds later and continued the match, but it was scary. They got heat on him forever. Crowd wasn't into it much early, but Edge and Christian were definitely faces. 2.5 stars.
Yeah, because we are all nuances out the window now. If you're WWF, you're a good guy. If you're WCW or ECW, you're a bad guy that watches porn.
Vince is backstage watching this and he says, yes, Edge and Christian totally reek of awesome. He does their pose.
It's not the best Vince. Vince he's definitely given it some welly, but you can tell his heart's not in this character. He's just doing stuff to further whatever, as opposed to just 3 weeks before. And he was having that insanely brilliant series of segments with Tori Wilson.
Yeah, and with Austin and
with Linda and everything. Regal calls Raven in this a poncy little toe rag.
He has a great he calls him a gobshite later on.
And then Vince says, Regal, you got to do what George Washington did to the Redcoats, which is like sort of, the joke is Vince is telling Regal, hey, you should beat them, using an example where the Americans beat the English.
I mean, look, I said it earlier when I didn't really know my history all that well. I don't know about this history either because we lost that, so it wasn't taught in our schools.
Nope, we only get the winning one.
That's right. That's what we learned about World War II, but not really what the Americans did, just what we as the British did and how we won the Second World War, which is why I know that Winston Churchill was the Prime Minister, but I don't know who the American president was.
Winston Churchill won the championship in 1945. From Adolf Hitler. Yeah. That's how it goes.
That's it. So you learn about that. Henry VIII.
Could you do like a title lineage of the 20th century where it's like, just the biggest leaders.
Well, surely then, if you're going to say that Churchill won the championship from Adolf Hitler, I think he then went undefeated because we haven't lost a war since. We haven't really got involved in any wars since.
Then Churchill got, it was a squash match, I think, in the next election. So is it Harold Macmillan? He's this Pedro, the guy everyone
Pedro
forgets.
Morales. He's the Stanley Man Stasiak of all of this. Up next is probably the match of the night. It's a battle of the referees as tricky Nick Patrick of WCW takes on Earl Hebner of the WWF with Mick Foley as the special guest referee.
Yeah, this is brilliant.
The video package for this is awesome.
Yeah, because it's just this bunch of lame geeks battling with this other bunch of lame geeks.
Keep your crappy shirts over on your side of the locker room. What if I want to hang them up on your side of the locker room? Where we have a fight at Invasion?
There's Tom Stoppard passed away recently, but he's got that play about the two Shakespeare side characters, and they just followed them, and that was like, oh wow, you could just follow these background characters in a larger story and make its own thing about it. That's a fun way to do storytelling. I feel like this is the wrestling equivalent. You're like, well, what do the referees do outside of the matches? Of course they do referee things. They go to bed in their referee shirts. They all go out to dinner in their referee shirts. And if there's another gang of referees, they're going to go totally West Side Story on them.
When Patrick comes out and the other WCW referees are all like, yeah, this guy. And Patrick's like, it's so good.
And on the last episode, I said, if you're WCW, now you're bad. If you're WWF, now you're good. Even the referees. Look at Nick Patrick. And you said, no, Little Nature's a good guy. Not when he walks out with Patrick.
He's not, is he? He's like,
you know what? George Michael's rubbish. Boo! It's
genuinely so great. Mick Foley, by the way, is a late addition to this show. Announced on Sunday Night Heat that he was returning to the company. And he signed a deal with Linda McMahon that would assign him to be the referee for one of the matches.
Do you think that was part of the contract he signed in December last year when Linda was about to enter a comatose state?
Yeah,
that was a story.
It probably was that, wasn't it? Yeah.
But it's, again, you've got referees versus referees. You can't have a referee to officiate.
No.
Because there'll be bias. So, of course, you need a special guest referee. My only problem is Mick Foley doesn't call it down the middle near the end. I know Nick... but who would you get as a genuinely impartial special guest referee?
Because you can't even say Teddy, can you? Because he'd work for both of them.
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work.
Pete Rose.
Huh. Pete Rose would have been a really interesting choice. He wasn't at Mania X7 either.
When Luke doesn't like an idea sometimes, he says interesting.
No, it's because I think that's a really good... I genuinely do think that's a really good idea. Because the only thing... you can't do Bill Alfonso, can you? Because he's ECW. Yeah, I think maybe you're right. It has to be like a celebrity.
Yeah. That's my pitch. Paul Heyman should have been on commentary.
That is point number one. He should have been on commentary.
Point number one. Goldberg should have been signed.
I'm putting Heyman on commentary above Bill Goldberg.
Point number two, Heyman should be on commentary because then you get him bickering with JR throughout the night. One of the things you get, and it's on the Go Home Raw as well, it's just Cole and JR agreeing with each other.
Yeah.
So there's no tension.
It's just all pro WWF chat.
And then number three, Pete Rose should be the special guest referee.
I do want to
particularly in the Bra and Panties match later.
He would have been tremendous in that. I do want to have a look. Look how great this is when all the referees are making their entrance.
To generic music.
Look at this! Look at him! Oh, boo! He's like, yeah!
This guy! Oh, they look so lame. What part of a high school movie is this? You know what I mean?
It's where the two basketball coaches from rival schools decide to have a fight in a parking lot.
Or it's like you're in the lunch hall and you got all the different gangs. These are just two minor gangs in the corner. Well, I guess they can fight as well.
I do have one question, though, about the entrance music for Earl Hebner. It is far too metal.
I know, I thought that.
it comes out here to like a Jerry Lynn theme song, and it's Earl Hebner.
It goes hard. And it's not just Earl. Tim White's there as well.
Timmy White's.
Lovely guy, Tim White.
He helped Stone Cold. He told him that I know you'll do the right thing.
He's got the friendly lap.
So good. This has more heat than the awesome match that came before this.
This has... It's like middle of heat. I think, obviously, the Bra and Panties has more heat just because people are horny. Mm-hmm. Main event, RVD and Jeff Hardy. They all have more heat. Then it's this.
Yeah. Do you know what I think part of that is? This is the longest built storyline of any of the matches on this show. Because we only found out who was on Team Alliance on the Go Home episode of Raw. Shane came out and talked about an inaugural Raw. This has been going on for weeks at this point. This is like the first match they announced.
Also, can we get the thumbnail for the Patreon version?
Yeah.
Can we have this as the thumbnail?
You want it to be Earl?
I want it to be Earl. Does he have a good name bar?
Yeah.
with WWF referees. Oh, he looks badass. That should be the front cover of an album.
Because the only thing I was going to suggest was also...
I mean, this. It's also great. But Nick Patrick, I think, actually carries himself pretty well as a heel.
He's great.
Earl is terrible.
Spear's awesome, though.
Spear's awesome.
So, I've written here, this is awesome and has genuine heat. Patrick's goofy selling is so much fun. Because, like, Earl will punch him, he'll go, and he'll just do the big comedy oversell. It's so good.
Like, Patrick... He does a low blow. He does a baseball slide. Like, who taught Nick how to work? Whereas
Hogan.
Earl is just bad at everything he does. I've called it a lumber ref match. Because they all start gets thrown out. WCW refs, even Little Nate, he's on him. And then all the other WWF, they're brawling with him as well. Oh.
Foley separates them and he ejects the WCW lot. Impartiality there. He should have ejected all of the referees from ringside. Nick Patrick starts shouting at Mick Foley, and then we get the spear by Earl Hebner, and he gets the win. I'm going to fast forward. You talk, so I'll get to the spear.
And just Earl, after that spear, looks totally gassed. He has been wrestling for all of 2 minutes, 30 seconds. He is out of breath.
Watch
Here
this.
it comes.
Jey Uso, eat your heart out.
Take notes.
Also, you can tell that Patrick went to Hogan school. He still kicks out. Kicks out. Look at him kick out before the 3.
Can we just see that? What is that? A pounce, a shoulder tackle, or a spear? Or all?
That's a D. All of the above.
Oh my god. It's
legit though, it is not that much different from what Jey Uso does.
That's my finisher. If I get to do a wrestling match, that's my finisher. By the way, if that bit was cut out for you on YouTube because of whatever rights issues and copyright flags, patreon.com/WrestleTalk. I don't think anything has ever been worth it more for you to see that spot.
It's awesome. Nick starts complaining to Mick Foley that was a fast count. He would know, Starrcade 97. So Mick decks him, then gets out Socko and gives I thought Patrick was fabulous in all of this.
Really good. Really good.
And also, Mick Foley's recently been on holiday. He's got an Islands of Adventure t-shirt. Someone's been to Universal Studios. Dave Meltzer would say, now that they did the match, I have even less clue as to why. Patrick wrestled a few years ago in the 1980s, and it was pretty entertaining.
That's why he was so good.
Hebner, who is older and has some serious health problems, was really blown up. Sure enough that it wasn't bad, but in hindsight, there was no reason for it. No star rating.
Look, I respect Meltzer so much, but sometimes I don't think he gets some wrestling.
I know, right?
Look, what this should have been, and at the time, maybe, I get why it was like this at the time. This is the match you put on before the main event.
Yeah.
This is the goofy one. Or maybe in the middle of the card. This is the perfect... If the rest of the show was all killer, this is a great match to have in there. It's over in 3 minutes.
Exactly.
It's over too quick for you to be annoyed by it.
Brian Alvarez would say, they brawled early and the crowd was into this to a shocking degree. Aside from the punches, which were hideous, this was damn acceptable. This was not good, but it was 100 million billion times better than it had any right to be. 1.5 stars. There you see, Alvarez gets it. We get an advert for Tough Enough. And I think these are also on Survivor Series 2001, which sort of undermines a lot of the story here because they're competing for a WWF contract, but at the same time, there's the war going on. And also, man, 2001 reality TV was bad.
Yeah, I watched the America's Next Top Model docuseries recently.
Did I?
And yeah, it's like, well, you've got to... What's the one where they change ethnicities? This week, you're going to change ethnicities. And all the girls there are like, oh, that's amazing. But yeah, it's like, this week, to learn, if you really want to make it as a wrestler, you've got to dress up as a woman and dance sexily in a club. You're like, is that the best way to learn how to be a wrestler? I don't think that's what Bruno Sammartino did. No, it's just a way to...
Eric Bischoff paid him to...
Allegedly. Well, actually, no, not allegedly.
It's his own words.
But he didn't pay. He converted that through his own charm.
He paid for some drinks.
But yeah, it's just a way to produce a wacky segment for reality TV.
It's exactly what it is, right? I also watched that America's Next Top Model Netflix thing, and it's amazing that like Tyra Banks is on there to like be the voice of reason and why she agreed to sign on for this show, and she almost makes herself worse.
Yeah. Actually, she comes off worse.
She probably would have been better off not being on that show.
But that's not. I found that quite refreshing because most of the times, that would be Tyra Banks producing the documentary.
The way she was talking about it, I was like, is she a producer on this show?
And then loads of people would watch it and go, man, Tyra Banks is really good. Like, no.
Because my wife said, why did Banks agree to this? Because she comes off really badly. And I was like, because she clearly got annoyed that some people were annoyed on TikTok. Yeah. And she's like, I'm going to go on TV and I'm going to defend myself.
Yeah.
And defend my position.
I'm so charismatic, I will be able to convince everyone.
And I will always jump to the argument of, because I think it is actually a very good argument to have. Back in the day, this was just the sort of thing that you did. Yeah. When the WWF, like they talk about the Attitude Era in the Mr. McMahon documentary, it would have been totally acceptable for them to be like, this is just what TV was at the time. It was South Park, it was Jerry Springer, it was the car crash TV was the dish of the day, and we were just reflecting that. Has it aged well? No. But it was just what the style was at the time. Not what Triple H said. Actually, who's worse, us for doing it or you for watching it? But as a fine argument to have, you can't have it as your only argument, though, which is what Tyra Banks just has across that whole, and the other judges as well to be like, well, it's like, it's not great, but what's the style at the time?
I thought the three blokes come off so well, don't they? Their little gang.
It's because they got fired. We get a recap of DDP kidnapping Deborah on SmackDown. And then we cut to the most charismatic duo of Team WWF, Deborah and Sarah, chatting about how much they hate DDP and how their husbands are going to get him tonight.
Yeah, so Deborah had this wonderful bit of exposition where she just said, oh, I'm so annoyed at DDP. Oh, he kidnapped me. And then, he just dropped me by the curb. So that says to me, good, because that explains why Deborah is now here as opposed to in the back of DDP's trunk still. That says to me DDP is just doing all this stuff to play mind games with Taker.
Yeah, as he said, Larry is like, I'm in Taker's head. Oh, sorry, I'm in Austin's head. Then we get the tag team champions of the APA taking on the WCW tag team champions of Palumbo and Chuck O'Hare from, according to Lillian Garcia. Bradshaw in the promo says, This is the house that we all built together. And in that room is Dean Malenko, who has only been there for about a year at this point, and previously was in WCW.
Does Malenko not join the Alliance?
He is basically retired at this point.
Right.
He's actually training to be an agent. He is retired from in-ring activity. Palumbo and O'Haire attacked them on Heat, where Bradshaw says the line. And Bradshaw's bad at this period of time. Crap catchphrases. Yum yum, come get you some.
Surely he's got a joke with the boys in the back. Well, I'm going to say the most homoerotic thing I can. There's no way you can have...
Always pounding
on the go home Raw.
I want to get inside his ass.
I want to get knee deep in these guys.
I want to go out there and fuck a guy.
It's the Brock Lesnar school of intimidation.
Kiss me back, pussy. And then, like, I'm trying to think, like, I'm trying to find a lot of positives to say about this show, but, like, the WWF do themselves no favors when they're trying to make these people feel like genuine threats, because it's the APA versus Palumbo and O'Haire, and JR says in this video package, Palumbo and O'Haire won't intimidate the APA. What? Sell the match, Jim?
They're the tag team champions.
I know, well, that'll put butts in seats.
Yeah. Well, it's not really build up. It was just announced on Monday, wasn't it? APA had been tag team champions for 2 weeks.
Yeah. I really cannot figure why Palumbo and O'Haire don't get much of a bigger push. They are tall, they're good-looking lads, they're good workers, and the only thing I can think of is exactly that. They think they don't know how to work.
Yeah.
But I think they're all right. Like, of all the things we've seen on them, I think their super kicks are dead good, their punches are good, but they are just seen as, no, these two green lads don't know how to work. Let's not push them. Because they're going to lose these tag titles soon, and they're not going to win them back. And it's just going to be focused on DDP and Canyon instead.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys who are like, okay, DDP, different style of putting together matches. Buff Bagwell, attitude issues. Kid Romero, too small. But then, yeah, you're right. Palumbo and O'Haire, you're like, well, these fit in perfectly with WWE. It's like when... Was it LA Knight when he got to WWE? We're like, well, he'll do really well here. And he has done to an extent. But, you know, he feels like he fits the mold perfectly, but doesn't get the full-on push. Yes,
it's a real shame. Farouk gets the hot tag, but he's cut off pretty quickly. I do think all that, I've just put them over there. They do need matching gear. If you're going to be tag team champions, get yourself some matching gear, lads.
And better entrance music. It's like a Johnson knockoff.
Bradshaw gets the hot tag, super kick by Palumbo, but then he gets hit by the clothesline from hell, and the APA win. Not a good match, and the WWF are up 3-0 or 3-1 if we're including Heat.
Yeah, that was a 6.5, well, nearly 7-minute match.
Was it really?
Yeah. Nothing happens.
I would have said that was as long as the referee's match.
I just kept on waiting. Oh, when are they going to work over Farouk? And Farouk was just like, kept on punching back. And then Bradshaw got in, and he hit a clothesline from hell.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it.
They
that's all
just
she wrote.
won.
Dave Meltzer wrote, Palumbo and O'Haire were aggressive but didn't get much heat. All brawling pretty stiff. Bradshaw pinned Palumbo with the clothesline. For what in another era would have been such an important deal, this was really nothing. 1 star. Brian Alvarez would say, match was sloppy in spots, but not a disaster. Crowd didn't care. Palumbo and O'Haire looked like they were either way too excited or nervous or both. I could just hear the acolytes telling them to calm down. Bradshaw finally pinned Palumbo clean with the clothesline from hell. Forgettable 1.5 stars.
I get that Palumbo and O'Haire haven't been booked well. They're not clicking with the audience. As soon as the bell rings, we've seen it on all the episodes leading up to this. The crowd aren't into the APA. They like the clothesline from hell. They like the gimmick, but they do not care about the matches.
I think you're right. They like the gimmicks. They like the backstage segments.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Anything in the APA office, that's really good. Or if the APA just come out and deck someone, great. But the second they have a match, they do die off.
But look, at the end of the day, Bradshaw and Farouk are valets. They're best served as employed muscle that come down and interfere in your match.
I think you're absolutely right.
But someone does have a sign in the crowd near the end that weirdly just reads, Celine Dion, the concert.
Huh.
Can't figure it out.
So what? Let's go to Google. I'm going to write Celine Dion, the concert.
Doesn't that feel like
2001.
Like a thing you'd get these days? And it'd be a picture of a Final Fantasy game.
In 2001, Celine Dion did not hold a major concert tour. She was on hiatus. That's according to Google's AI overview.
Huh.
But then she did do something in September after obviously what happens.
The invasion.
We cut backstage to Vince giving Jericho a pep talk about an annihilation. But the key to this is Vince doing Jericho's catchphrase.
Yeah, at the end he's just like, they'll never, and I mean never, beat us, or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I've got my notes in real time watching it now, and I've also got my notes from when we did this 7 years ago. 7 years ago, I put Vince's reacting facials are great with his eyes bulging. Vince is an amazing on-screen performer. He's the perfect cartoon villain who can do comedy and serious mastermind. Right. So this is before we knew. This is before we knew all of that.
Is
stuff.
This when we talk about this? Is this our version of concussions?
Yeah.
We just didn't know.
We didn't know.
We just didn't know. Even though there were lots of signs, there were pointings, we just didn't know.
But my notes this time, having watched the weeks and weeks of build to this, my feeling of this is Vince is just doing an impression of Vince.
Huh, interesting.
I think Vince had the story and stuff of, well, we're going to do Linda takes that side and blah, blah, blah. This just seems to be like Vince generically raising the spirits of wrestlers backstage.
I get what you mean, because I think there is an overall feeling of they're not into this.
Yeah. Or, he's performing the bit for the scene, but is this the best creative for this?
Yeah.
No, and it's not getting the best out of Vince.
No, and I guess like the overall feeling I get from watching this show is, we just watched the 4 of the maddest weeks of WWF programming that I've ever seen in my life. That they've kind of already given up on this angle. They know this is not the strongest form of this.
Yeah.
They know they haven't got Goldberg and Flair and Sting. So they are just sort of going through the motions. And that's then reflected in Vince's performance. This is just, they can just go, the promotion of no one has ever come to the WWF like this is just them saying it rather than actually believing it.
Yeah.
They believe more in the federal government coming after them than WCW coming after them.
But no matter how bad the creative is, Jericho and Stephanie, they have this electric chemistry.
I hate him.
So just look at Stephanie saying that she wants to fuck him. I mean that she hates him.
I want to go and fuck Chris Jericho.
So this also does that whole bit where it's like, what? Oh, you've put it's just you.
Oh. What's happened here?
Look at this scene.
Hello. Finally, it's exactly how I wanted it to be.
Where's the QR code? Get that over this guy's face.
All right,
you fix that while I go through this scene. This has never before happened. So Jericho, well, the weird thing is, and this is fine, it's just what wrestling is. What is the show and who is watching the show? Because this bit with Vince and Jericho then cuts to Stephanie watching
the pay-per-view feed.
It's not, but then surely
they've added one extra buy.
But then when we see Stephanie watching the show, what's the show? This is a metaphysical nightmare. Anyway, it doesn't matter, because the beauty is we get Stephanie saying she hates Jericho.
Jericho. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him.
Oh, it's just brilliant.
So good.
She wants to have sex with him.
She so does.
Yes.
I don't know if Triple H knows this. So yeah, they are there to hype up Billy Kidman because, in Paul Heyman's words, we are losing.
Yeah, Shane and Stephanie are doing their Kendall and Shiv thing. And then Heyman's like, no, but seriously, man, you need to win this because we are down here.
Yeah, we are 0-3. Shane can keep talking about how Chavo Guerrero beat Scotty Too Hotty on Sunday Night Heat. No one gives a shit, mate.
It's typical Shane not understanding the severity of what's happening because he's got all the money.
Yeah.
In this ECW, WCW, Paul Heyman, they need this to be a thing.
But Billy Kidman says, guys, what are you worried about? I'm going to show you exactly why everybody says X-Pac sucks. This will be one of the... I think this might be the last time we'll see Billy Kidman on this podcast.
Is it really?
Yeah, I don't think he's on any of the future pay-per-views.
But he's still with the company. He just doesn't make the pay-per-view cards.
I think he is one of those people that gets sent down to OVW to, quote-unquote, learn how to work. There's
someone with the most over move in all of wrestling.
So
a shooting star press.
There was a Ross report in August where Jim Ross actually comes under fire from fans because he says one of the reasons why the WCW stars aren't getting over it because they work at half speed. And they need to go down to OVW and all these other promotions that we've got to learn how to work.
Yeah.
So Billy Kidman is working at a half speed of the APA.
Yes. Yeah, Billy Kidman, cruiserweight champion, half speed.
Yeah, that's the problem. He's too slow, and he needs to learn to speed up a little bit.
That's what everyone says about those cruiserweight matches in WCW.
Yeah,
it was slow, methodical wrestling.
I was watching it through water. That's what they were doing.
But I know we said earlier that by this point in the invasion, the WWF are good guys, Alliance are bad guys. Even Little Nate has kind of turned semi-heel with the true leader of the Alliance, Nick Patrick. Unless you're X-Pac.
But
because X-Pac actually gets booed by everyone there, and Billy Kidman works face in this match.
Which I think is completely a Waltman call. Because Jim Ross says on commentary, now usually X-Pac will get booed by a WWF crowd, but because he's WWF through and through, he's going to get cheered tonight. And then the crowd immediately start with X-Pac sucks chants. And I think Waltman is so smart to know this, that is going to happen. That he works heel in the match to allow Kidman to be the face.
Well, yeah. Yeah, X-Pac probably expected this.
Yeah.
He understands what's happening.
He's not an idiot. No. So it is X-Pac, the light heavyweight champion, taking on Billy Kidman, the cruiserweight champion. X-Pac, by the way, who had just celebrated his 29th birthday.
It's a hard 29 years, isn't it, when you're on the road?
Yeah,
he looks 38.
But also, I mean, yeah, he does look way beyond his years because this was a much harsher lifestyle. He's 29. Think of everything that he has done in his career so far. Like pinning Razor Ramon on that episode of Monday. He's been part of the NWO. He's been fired by one company, gone to another company, been fired by that company, gone back to the first company, has been with DX. He's been a multi-time champion. He has been on WrestleMania. He's been on multiple pay-per-views. And he's 29 years old. He's the veteran.
In 2026, that would mean, hey, a couple of years' time, we might call you up.
That's exactly what I mean. And that's what I find very frustrating about this aging problem that WWE has. But yes, JR does say that this WWF crowd are definitely going to cheer X-Pac. They do not. I've written here, this is the best wrestling since that opening tag. I mean, the referees match.
Yeah. That spear. It's a new move.
And then, as I was typing that, because it is quite good, it's fast paced at the start, half speed Billy Kidman, but X-Pac's really fast. I just finished typing that segment, and then X-Pac locked in a rest hold, and I was like, until the boring WWF rest hold kicks in.
Yeah, the fast paced style of WWF that the WCW guys don't work. Just before that, though, Billy's lower back got cut open. I don't know if you saw. When he took a bump outside. But yeah, we're in an X-Pac rest hold about 2 minutes in.
it's proper, like Billy Kidman running wild, and the X-Pac was like, whoa, let's slow it down there, kid.
Take a breath, buddy.
Let's take a breath here. We've already got their money.
But that rest hold aside, this is definitely more of a light heavyweight cruiserweight style.
Absolutely.
And it feels different to the rest of the matches on the card so far. In fact, I feel like match-wise, this is quite a varied pay-per-view. In styles of wrestling, which is not something you usually see from a WWF show.
Agreed. Kidman makes his comeback. X-Pac tries to use the ropes to get the win, but Kidman kicks out. Kidman then kicks out of the X-Factor that's sort of hit out of nowhere, gets his feet up on the Bronco Buster, and hits that shooting star press to get the win. X-Pac, though, wily veteran at 29, kicked out at 3.
That shooting star press.
I mean, look.
It's
at the time, it was the best version of this move.
People got better at doing this move, but it's not too far away from a Brock Lesnar. He does it while falling downwards.
Yeah,
he gets very little height.
It's like a Lita moonsault.
Yeah. But he actually hits it. I mean, that's actually a much better version than he normally does. I love the... can we see it, actually? Because the X Factor bit is a really good spot, because he catches Kidman off of the top rope. Let's have a look at this. I think it's here. It's going to be a rest hold now, I've said that. This is like from out of nowhere.
That's great. And
really
he goes,
good.
Bang, straight into the pin.
Really good.
That means that WCW get a win. They are now 3-1. The Wrestling Observer would say, the word on Kidman was always that he desperately needed a new ring outfit. Now that he's got one, he still does have those biker shorts that are so 4 years ago. So catty from Meltzer. Nothing wrong with this match, but nothing compared to Kidman's matches on WCW pay-per-view events. 2 stars. And Brian,
I mean, yeah, it's a good match, but at the end of the day, this is still very basic stuff.
Brian Alvarez would say, some very good wrestling early, but it really started to slow down about midway through. 2 stars. This is also from the Figure 4. X-Pac gave a hell of an interview to WWF.com last week. Quote, I'll tell you this, if you want to turn me babyface, I'll out babyface damn near anyone in this company, and that's a fact. Hardly anybody knows how to do that either. Alvarez then writes, yes, this statement was made by X-Pac, the only WWF wrestler to be booed in the WWF versus WCW feud. In fact, last Monday on Raw, Billy Kidman cut a totally heel promo running down the local sports team in a desperate attempt to get heat, and the crowd still chose to boo X-Pac instead. I guess he just didn't want to out babyface damn near everybody in the company that particular evening.
Well, yeah, no one's probably told X-Pac to babyface, so he's just proceeding as a heel.
Backstage, Shane, Stephanie, and Heyman celebrate, and DDP walks in and says, I abducted Deborah.
Want to watch some porn?
It's homemade. And it was like, I'm in Austin's head.
Yeah.
None of that will actually play into the main event of this match, of this show.
Speaking of porn, though, should we get to the dialogue of this backstage segment with Tori Wilson and Stacy Keibler?
Yes, let's, because I would describe this as Tori and Stacy have a conversation that no 2 women have actually ever had in their lives.
No, they've had them in Vince's head.
They have them all the time.
And to be honest, as a 13-year-old boy, this is what women would do in my head when I didn't understand what sex was. So this is most likely Vince-ridden dialogue for these 2 women to say. That there is a cringe-like quality of my dad wrote a porno to this.
My Vince wrote porno.
You ready, Tori? Stace, I was born ready. You know what? It's just too bad the audience is going to have to settle to see Trish Stratus and her Raw tonight. They're going to be missing out on these big, voluptuous breasts. Your breasts and my ass. My legs go from here all the way up to here. And no one looks better in panties than me, especially Lita. The only way I could look better would be to be wearing none at all.
You get the picture.
No, it gets worse.
Oh, do you think? I don't think anything tops my big, voluptuous breasts. Voluptuous is such a Vince word.
Big, voluptuous breast. Also, I think she says breast. No, not plural.
Oh, at that point, they are one.
No, I think they're at the end.
Since the audience isn't going to see it, I think there might be 2 people that we could give a private showing to. Maybe after the show we can give a private viewing to Matt and Jeff Hardy.
Also like how Stacy said the line, in a teasing way of just like, maybe there'll be 2 other people we can do it. And Tori said, yes, the Hardy Boys. Just think, so we're all clear. We don't mean Palumbo and O'Hare or Didi. mean the Hardy Boys.
I'm surprised we don't then get they'll be Hardy Boys when we're done with them.
Only Vince had thought of that.
You know they want us. Space. You do have a merman.
Straight into the Raven. It's like
From out of nowhere.
Is Raven going to come out of Stace's ass?
Something else is going to come, maybe.
I know.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Well, it is what it is. The signs. If only the signs were there.
Yeah, up next, it's a total clash of styles as Raven takes on William Regal. If I can get my positives out of the way, Raven looks cool.
I didn't think this was that bad. Did you really not like it?
I think this match went on way too long, and the crowd really got bored. They chanted boring, they chanted Goldberg, and just lost interest. Like, they didn't have the crowd at the start, and they did nothing to get them into the match, and then it went on for 10 minutes, and then it ended.
We've established it went on for 6 minutes, 20 seconds.
Felt like 16.
But yeah, this was after Raven was beaten by Kurt Angle in 4 minutes on Raw, which was actually a pretty decent encounter. And Regal had lost to Taz almost.
Yes.
When Tajiri helped him. So great. It's the losers fighting for brand supremacy.
The thing that I enjoyed the most about this match is this situation they find themselves in where they cannot explain what ECW is because Stephanie owned ECW. That is the storyline. But they hate Paul Heyman. And they keep saying Paul Heyman has brainwashed these guys into joining ECW. But he's not in charge of ECW. So there's a moment when JR's like, oh, well, that's the thing. Oh, no, it's Cole. Cole says, like, Heyman's the puppet master of ECW. He's brainwashed all of these guys. He's given them all the Kool-Aid. And then JR says, yeah, but Stephanie's also in charge.
Mm-hmm. Just so we're all clear.
So we're all clear. He is not the owner of ECW. Stephanie is. And then Cole says, you know, ECW used to be about BS and bravado. Now it's all about money and muscles. Is it? Is that what ECW is about?
Yeah, looking at Raven in the ring.
Yeah, well, Raven's
money
in the
and
ring.
muscles.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with Raven. He's all about money and muscles, is Raven.
While JR has described Raven's fashion sense, let's say, as dressing like a bum.
Yeah. So I believe that was the gimmick that they gave him when he came into the WWF. Because of his ring attire, he's wearing, you know, the jeans shorts and the vest, is you look like a homeless person. So that was his gimmick, is he is homeless.
Is that why he has a shopping trolley?
Yes.
No way, I didn't know that. Does that sting you in any way? Because you've based a lot of your own dress sense on Raven.
I still look dressed like Raven. Yeah.
Ergo, JR thinks you look like a homeless person.
Well, he probably would do. He'd probably see the way that I dress and be like, oh,
chuck you a quarter?
Yeah, imagine if I had an earring. I definitely wouldn't have been WWF champion. But yeah, sorry, I'm just going to say, look at him. Look how cool he is.
Yeah,
he's so cool.
Yeah, he's cool.
Anyway, this match isn't very good. Regal doesn't even follow up on the classic Raven spot, which is when he whips you into the corner, you stumble backwards, he runs off the ropes and hits you with a clothesline. Yeah, Regal fucks that one up. I've written here, boy, these lads are having a match that the crowd does not care about, and it goes way too long.
So Raven, at one point as well, gets Regal in the chin lock. So it's not just everyone is a heel apart from Billy Kidman. They are all going to wrestle the same heel style.
That's the WWF style. It's what these WCW guys need to learn. Raven goes for the DDT, but Regal reverses. He blocks another DDT attempt. They bonk heads, and Raven falls to the floor, or as I've written here, falls to the floor. Taz runs down and gives Regal a T-bone suplex. Raven picks Regal up, hits the Raven effect, gets the win. Raven with a pay-per-view win, a rare commodity within 2000 and 2001. 5 stars.
Were you, at the time, just, I don't care about the creative, Raven got a win?
Raven got a win, and try to get my words out. I remember being furious just a couple of months before this, because Raven was supposed to face Matt Hardy for the European Championship on pay-per-view, and then somebody else got put in that position, and Raven was in the hardcore match with Rhino, which is a great match. It's probably the best match of that night. And then they would replicate that match in TNA when Raven was the world champion. Love all of that. But I at the time thought, Raven's moving up the card. Because in my head, that is how it works.
Yeah, hardcore to European to Intercontinental, maybe a tag team run at some point. Then you're WWF champion, baby.
Exactly. That's you go up the rankings. And I was like, he's moving up the ranks out of the hardcore division. They're taking Raven seriously.
Did you seriously think that at how old would you have been?
15.
15?
Yeah. But that's how it worked in video games. You would start off in one division, and then you would complete that division, then you would go up to the next one. That's how I saw it would working, particularly because he was in the hardcore stuff for all of 2000 and early 2001. Then he's getting a European title shot. That's a level above getting a hardcore title shot.
I mean, it's a sideways step, let's be honest.
Not in my head. That was an important belt. It was on Sunday Night Heat every single week. That was an important belt to me.
Do you know what, genuinely, as a 13-year-old, I thought, I think he's got a ceiling. I think this is as far as he'll get within the WWF, considering the body type they usually favour.
I'm sure you did. I'm just going to have a quick little Raven noise, which I thought was tremendous.
Does it come out of Stace's butt? Taz, by the way, was getting revenge on Regal for the Tajiri bit earlier. That's why he interfered at the end. And Regal is furious.
A little bit of Raven noise here when he falls out the ring.
Regal, tremendous counter. Raven went to the drop kick, and Raven's going to pay for it. Up in the top rope. Back kicks on the
Which I think is the start of his entrance theme.
Did someone shoot his back? Like a sniper?
It does. Because he lands and he's like, uh-oh, sell. Where do we get to? So ECW gets the win. They're now 3-2. Dave Meltzer.
And if you count the pre-show,
it's 3-all. Dave Meltzer would say, this match did not get over at all. 1/4 of a star. And Brian Alvarez would say, not good. 1 star. Backstage, Taker is unconvincing doing shadow boxing. do. He's so rubbish. He spends the whole segment going doing his little fake punches. Vince walks in and says, you've got to be on your game. You've got to function as a unit. Taker's all the while punching, and Kane just stands there. Oh, I love this.
Sarah's there.
Sarah's also there. And I think,
don't bury the lead.
I think Vince forgets what her name is. Wait, 10301. When he's addressing them, wait, there's a little pause. Let me go to the right screen.
With what he did to your wife. With all that voyeur stuff. With all that videotape, the best of Sarah. With all that.
Deborah?
Or maybe he's just waiting. No, the cue is obviously Sarah for Undertaker to grab him by the neck.
Yeah.
So maybe Vince just doesn't want to be grabbed by the neck. Just before I say it, is Sarah.
Taker grabs Vince by the throat and says, tonight you're going to see the best of Taker. Spoilers, we won't. Vince smiles, and I guess Kane and Sarah just stay in the room because Taker leaves.
Yeah. What? Why didn't we get that affair? That would be a great Attitude Era storyline.
Because this is Undertaker's shoot wife. And he's not going to be telling people to book her into storylines where she's cheating on The Undertaker.
With his brother. Writes itself.
Up next, talk about match of the night. Big Show, Albert, the Intercontinental Champion, and Billy Gunn take on the team of Hugh Morris, Sean Stasiak, and Chris Kanyon.
Yeah, so a mistake must have happened, I guess. Something, this was meant for Heat, and I'm guessing there was a copy and paste error.
Yep.
What is this doing on the card?
It's on my GM mode when you haven't got enough fit wrestlers to put onto a card. So you're like, I've just got to put these lads into a match.
Well, don't do a 6-man.
It's not going to be good, but at least I've got a match there and I can press continue to the next page.
Okay. Billy Gunn has been in the mid-card bits when they go chasing after people. Albert's the IC champion. Sean Stasiak's one of the biggest stars in the Alliance. Chris Kanyon's been about.
He's awesome.
What have Hugh Morris and Big Show been doing for the last month?
So, Big Show and Billy Gunn are now a tag team. That's why they're in the
Shogun.
Shoguns. Cole, in fact, calls them, and this is very much a Vinceism, a JR line, he calls them the classic underachievers in the WWF, which is their code word of saying, we have given you so many pushes and you can't get over. So yeah, they formed a tag team now called Shoguns. What a fall down for Albert, by the way, who felt like he was getting such a big push just 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
All the WCW guys come out together and look like complete jobbers.
Yeah, because they've got their generic WCW Tron. It's generic music.
Well, it's Sean Stasiak's music from
Oh, is it really?
Because he
It's just
was
generic.
Well, it's Mr. Perfect's music.
Oh,
So-
sorry, Mr. Perfect.
At the end of WCW, they had this thing where the new generation were being the new versions of. So like Vampiro was going to be the new Sting, and Stasiak was the new Mr. Perfect. So that's why he has like a remix of Mr. Perfect's theme. So speaking of Stasiak, we didn't actually talk about this earlier in this podcast series, but Lance Storm wrote a 2011 blog post about Sean Stasiak and this period of time, talking about what was supposed to happen at WrestleMania X7.
Okay.
The WWF flew us in, put us up in a different hotel, and had a bus booked to sneak us in the back door of the arena where WrestleMania X7 was. We were even brought over a little bit late in the hopes that fans would be in their seats and no one would see us. Unfortunately, all of these efforts to keep our Mania appearances secret were for naught because Sean Stasiak did a radio or internet interview the day before and stooged the whole thing off. The office was furious and many of us speculated that it might cost him his job. I was even told at one point the plan was to have us do a run-in on the Vince and Shane match.
No.
But Vince was so mad that it had leaked that he killed the angle and almost sent us home. Thankfully, at least, we got to stay and watch the show.
Because that's the big go-home angle from that previous Monday's Raw at WrestleMania X7. Shane has just bought WCW. To be honest, it's a perfect match as it is. I don't know if it needs another interference spot. Like the money stuff there is, it's Trish and it's Stephanie and it's Linda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, WCW would have been an extra bit of like salt and pepper that wasn't actually like it's
and the fourth most important thing.
Yeah, it's seasoned enough as it is. It's a bit of finishing salt on top, I suppose. But yeah, the idea was they were supposed to do a run-in. That was going to be the WCW debut. But Stasiak went on the radio, onto a radio show on the interview and said, here are the 12 names that are going to be at WrestleMania X7.
And that's the sort of stuff that you would just do in WCW.
Well, it's just what Stasiak did. Do you know why Stasiak got fired from the WWF in the first place? He used to record people's conversations. He got himself a talk boy and used to leave it in the locker room to record people's conversations to either, like he claims he did it as a rib, but I think, and sort of the theory is, he was doing it so he could then give it to the dirt sheets or like give it to radio stations and stuff.
Oh, no.
He's the guy with the inside track.
Oh, okay.
And you might think, well, that's one person.
That is a stooge. That's no good.
That's one person who said that's Lance Storm. Bill DeMott then talked about it on Talk is Jericho in 2015.
Bill DeMott, who is Hugh Morris in this match.
I was in the original group that set up in the Silhouette Skybox when Stasiak couldn't keep his mouth shut. The night before, he gave up all 11 names and Kevin Dunn called up John Lighters and said, fire them all. I guess he did something.
Fire them all?
Yeah.
Not just Sean Stasiak?
Get rid of all of them. I guess he did something as the internet was just coming up or whatever it was. Stasiak did an interview and gave up all 11 names that were going to be at WrestleMania. Kevin Dunn called Laurinaitis and said, fire them all. We don't even have them here and the shit's already started. But this is 6 days from them buying WCW. And the first thing that Stasiak does is go on the radio and be like, oh, here's the 11 names that are going to be at WrestleMania X7. And they're like, yeah, they've only just got here and they're already causing problems.
And I know we do make fun, and I do think WWF should have picked up a bunch of top-level WCW guys. But this is the evidence that WWF can point to and say, we don't want those guys here. They're not worth the money. We'll bring in Goldberg, pay him this much. And he will, upset the apple cart. Maybe he would just start being a dick backstage with all that money.
Comes in with an ego.
Yeah.
I've been paid. They paid me $6 million just to get me here. And that doesn't even include the contract I'm now being paid. We flew in on ridiculous flights. Nobody saw us. You guys were in Houston. You being Jericho. We were outside of Houston. You guys were in Shangri-La. I'm in Bedrock. The friggin' phone rings and it's John Laurinaitis. Get your ass downstairs. You're all going home. I go down to meet Johnny. He's pissed. He told me the story, but he didn't say it was Stasiak. He goes, well, who went on the radio? I said, it's not my deal. Even to this day, it's still not my deal. So I called Lance Storm, and Lance is sitting there going, you've got to be shitting me. Everyone gets called down. We brought out to the lobby. Johnny gives his speech. Stasiak owns up to it, and we're all looking at him like, man, Ernie Ladd meets us in the bus, takes us back en route, sticks us in the skybox with cheese and crackers and said, enjoy the show. I went from being in the ring with Shane McMahon at WrestleMania, that was going to be my debut in WWE, to a silhouette of me and Lance Storm sitting with Mike Sanders and someone else. The whole time, you can imagine, Lance is just miserable. WrestleMania was over.
Oh, but what about this? Lance is miserable anyway, right?
Yeah. WrestleMania was over, back down a kabuki stairwell that smelled of piss and vinegar, back in the same bus, no one talked to us, drops us off at the hotel, and we were sent home. I went, holy shit, that was quick.
Oh.
Yeah, man.
Well, I can't blame WWF for, for being really pissed off.
Yeah. And then he cocks up the finish of this match. WWF dominate, a little bit of heat for WCW and a hot tag to Albert. Baldo bomb to Stasiak, but Kanyon and Morris break it up. Morris tags himself in. Albert still slams him. Hot tag to Billy Gunn, famous to Morris. But let's see what tries to happen in the finish here. So Billy Gunn goes for the one and only. Stasiak hits a reverse DDT onto Billy Gunn, but he's not the legal man. But in doing so, they all fall down together, and Stasiak tries to pin Billy Gunn. And Hugh Morris, Bill DeMott, has to say to him, while selling, get off him.
Yeah.
I need to pin him.
Yeah, and he does, and that's a WCW win.
Yeah.
Which is good. That's even though WWF stood tall for most of this, with all three of the big guys lifted the three WCW guys over their heads at the start. This draws them level.
It does.
In advance if you count the pre-show. But then WWF actually stood tall afterwards.
So who's the real winners?
The alley-oop.
Yes, chokeslam to Morris, chokeslam to Stasiak, and then Big Show grabs Kanyon and he goes, alley-oop! And he hits the alley-oop. It's called the alley-oop.
Yeah.
That's his finish. It's not the chokeslam anymore. His finish is called the alley-oop.
Yeah. Which is a basketball term, right? When you volley it up for someone or something. But, yeah, not the most badass name. Nor is it a particularly cool-looking finisher.
No. As a few people have said about this finish, it looks like it's an accident. Because he gets him up for a powerbomb and then falls backwards. Dave Meltzer would say, fans didn't seem to care about Billy Gunn. They didn't know how to take Albert since he's on TV as a heel. Quarter of a star.
Oh, quarter of a star. I mean, this got worse matched, didn't it?
And Brian Alvarez would say, finish was so utterly horrible. And yes, for those wondering, Kanyon was the MVP of the match. Half a star. I've written here, Kendall shines up Booker T's title backstage.
Oh, you're looking really good. The gold looks good on your book. Yeah, you're the man, Book.
And this is where he goes, see, actually, technically, we're up 4-3 because Chavo Guerrero Jr. went on Sunday Night Heat. And he goes, you know what, Booker? You've already beaten Angle. You've already beaten Jericho. And Shane goes, full Kendall.
I think Shane and Booker T is serious, Shane is deluded rich boy heel. There's something there. They do have a sort of on-screen charisma chemistry together that is one of the only good things about the invasion.
Well, you're in luck because they will have a handicap match against The Rock on one of our upcoming pay-per-views. Tajiri is backstage. Regal walks in and berates him about getting beaten up by Taz. Calls Taz a little gobshite. Go get him now. And that brings us to Taz versus Tajiri. Where it says Cole didn't just says that Taz didn't just drink the Kool-Aid, he drank a whole lot of it.
Oh, Tim White's the ref. I just like seeing Tim White now for this.
And I've written here, wouldn't that have been like a cool few-week angle of Heyman slowly manipulating people to join the group?
Yes.
As opposed to it just being all of a sudden all the ECW guys are just back with Heyman.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool,
Because they keep talking about, it's like, Heyman's manipulated them. I was like, but I've not seen any evidence of that whatsoever. You're just telling me that.
Luke, you're behaving like they knew this was the plan all along and they could have foreshadowed this stuff. They literally came up with this 10 days ago.
Good point.
And you're asking for foreshadowing. We don't have all this time. We've got to tell.
I guess you're absolutely right.
Show's gone out the window. But this, weirdly, and I think, I did go back and have a look and I couldn't find another. This is our first ECW versus ECW match, right?
Yes, technically, but it is WWF versus
Yes,
ECW.
yeah. But Tajiri, Taz. So just in-ring style-wise, the way they're wrestling, Tajiri's fast strikes, Taz's suplexes are a thing of beauty.
Mm-hmm.
This, stylistically, is an ECW match, without the hardcore spots, of course.
Yeah, and I really liked it as a match as well. I think the problem is, and I hate to be this guy, because the WWF ring is bigger, and ECW were much smarter about how they framed their wrestlers, you can see why Taker, Kane, a lot of these guys in WWF, Vince, Pritchard, saw them and were like, man, these wrestlers are tiny. Because they look, like it's Taz, they look tiny in this ring.
And they do not, like Taz particularly, in ECW, feels like a monster.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we're coming out of an age of 80s, 90s, steroid, attitude era guys. Everyone looked big. The small guys still look big. They're just short.
Yeah.
That's the thing working against them.
So they talk a lot about Heyman being a manipulator and this, that, and the other. Tajiri unloads on Taz, but he decks him. We get a big reaction to the kicks. Crowd pop for a tarantula. But when Tajiri hits that kick, the way that WWF crowds were at this time is you just sort of get this noise throughout a match.
Yeah.
And then when someone hits like a finishing move, you get this big pop. You don't often get this, though, which is when someone does a kick and you get this sound. Oh! Which is a noise you get on a lot of indie shows now, and actually on WWE shows and AEW shows. If someone does like a super kick and a loud noise happens, oh, that noise is quite uncommon here. But Tajiri does this kick, and you get that, I would say, a modern crowd noise.
The old leg slap super kick spot, really. And we did that. It's really a reaction to the sound of the thigh slap.
Yeah.
I suppose the only thing you would get that reaction in is a shoot promo. You know, when The Rock would say something,
yeah, I guess,
time.
Kind of, yeah.
But you're right, not in an actual match. Because, and I referenced the different styles of matches they have on this card earlier. This is another one. This is more of a modern, for the time, indie style.
Yeah, but unfortunately, all of this is going to get flattened out because there's not going to be a lot of the WCW guys on our upcoming shows because they're just going to move a lot of the heels of the WWF over to the Alliance. And then it's going to be Test versus Kane, Edge versus Christian. And it's just going to be like a lot of the shows we've got coming up are just going to feel like WWF pay-per-views from 1999 and 2000.
Or what they would have done with the year 2001 anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Missed out of nowhere, buzzsaw kick, Tajiri wins. I thought it was a fun match.
Yeah, good stuff in ring.
Wrestling Observer would say Tajiri is great, star and 3/4. And Brian Alvarez would say pretty good while it lasted, 2.25 stars. Jeff Hardy is warming up backstage, and Matt tells him that RVD is dangerous. But he says, don't worry. Also, this is Rob's wheelhouse. It's an ECW rules match. You're the hardcore champion, so you better watch out for him. And then RVD runs up and he decks Matt Hardy with a chair. And he's like, you're next, Jeff.
And he runs away. You got to catch me.
WWF New York. Which loser is there today?
Can we watch this whole segment? This is top tier. Okay, so this is Rob Van Dam running away.
You're next, Jeff.
You're next. See you later. But then, you're right. It's WWF New York. Bob Holly is signing autographs.
Big post for Swordfish. That's not going to be one of our number ones coming up, so you know.
New York City at WWF New York.
Yeah, great. He's a respectful fan. This guy's a respect.
Oh, wait, what's this guy wearing?
That's a WCW shirt. Just got to get around that table. It's difficult, isn't it, when you've got to be intimidating.
Yeah.
But the corner of the table's in the way.
This is not WCW New York. This is WWF.
Oh, you can see the rip in the collar already. Oh no!
You little bastard. Why aren't these people watching the pay-per-view?
It doesn't even say earlier today.
No, this is live.
It's like right now.
This is live, pal. Up next.
Oh, by the way, Swordfish, just a brief anecdote. It must have been on Sky Movies when I was 14. I'm like, oh, Swordfish, that sounds cool. Me and my dad watched it. Halle Berry's boobs get out, and I think John Travolta Hugh Jackman gets a blowjob while hacking films.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, hacking systems somewhere.
Yeah.
The idea is so he associates hacking with sex and thrills and stuff like that. And it's one of those, like, we've all had them.
Yeah.
Why am I watching this film with my dad? I thought it was an action film.
The worst one of that for me is when there's two. When my mum rented There's Something About Mary for us to watch, she went out to our local video store. And when American Pie was on TV, and I watched it with my mum and dad. I would have been like probably around this year, like 2001 or something. I'd have been like 16.
This is specifically about the embarrassment between a kid and their parents. Yeah. Some scenes at least.
And like my parents would have been in their 40s. That film is not made for them. Oh. It is made for people my age at that point in time.
It hurts. It hurts now. Because at that age, you just go beet red.
Yeah, that was awful.
Couldn't control it.
Up next, for the Hardcore Championship, easily the match of the night, Rob Van Dam takes on Jeff Hardy. This match rules.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's the only really genuinely good match, because the 10-man main event is fun, but there's just too much. It's loaded, there's too much around it that makes it suck. But this is it is a dream match. You watch ECW, you like the unorthodox style of Rob Van Dam. Jeff Hardy, you love the unorthodox style of him in TLC matches and ladder matches. This is a match you want to see in an inter-promotional war.
That's the key to it, right? You hit the nail on the head. This is, on Invasion, the only dream match. So when they're talking about, like, it's a sight we thought we'd never see, the stars of WWF versus the stars of WCW, no matches on this card have got that. I didn't watch ECW and be like, man, I can't wait to see Raven versus Regal. Also, I've seen it on Sunday Night Heat 20 times in 2000. But this here genuinely is a dream match. Rob Van Dam versus Jeff Hardy, and they do it again at the next show. And it kicks ass both times.
What was the card before ECW joined?
Or more Sean Stasiak style matches, I guess.
In singles matches, in tag matches?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you could have had Hugh Morris versus The Big Show, and Billy Gunn versus Sean Stasiak, and Albert versus Chris Kanyon.
Oh, my God. But it's electric from the start. The crowd are way more into it as well.
Yeah.
Because Rob Van Dam, he's just cool. Even though they might not be that familiar with him, some definitely are. Everyone just gets that this is a special, exciting guy that they've not seen before.
And you can see, watching this, why people in the WWF would be mixed on him afterwards to be like, no, I'm actually not so sure if this guy really is cut out for the position that we're putting him in. I think maybe he's lucky to be here.
Yeah. It's they point out that it's unorthodox that this isn't a hardcore match, because it's for the hardcore title. We don't really see any weapons until quite a way in.
Yeah. They use the word coalition again, which obviously that's the name that they're going for. The crowd popped big for RVD doing his spinning heel kick off the ring to the barricade, which is a classic RVD spot. Because for a lot of people here, this might be their first exposure to Rob Van Dam. Because in the 2 weeks that we've had ECW invade, all he's done is just some jumping kicks. Yeah. He hasn't had a match. This is his first match in the WWF.
And because Jeff, bless him, he can occasionally be a bit sloppy, him working with RVD just makes it feel more real.
Yeah, well, RVD's used to that. He's worked with Sabu.
So Jeff's going to run the barricade like normal. He is slipping, and Van Dam just tackles him over.
Jeff Hardy looking to scale the barricade.
Yeah! Yeah, that's not the prettiest.
Yeah. I wrote in my notes here, it's messy, but not a mess, if that makes sense. It just feels legit. Jeff gets a ladder and then he gets struck with it, which allows RVD to push it over. Like he gets stuck up top of the ladder, essentially, and RVD pushes it over. JR has the line, how do you learn to fall off a 20-foot ladder? Which I don't think is the line that is used in the Don't Try This at Home video. I think it's a different, how'd you learn to fall off a 20-foot ladder? You might be broken in half.
Yeah.
I ruptured a dick that fragmented into my spinal column.
Just before the ladder, there is this spot, which I thought was invented at Wrestle Kingdom by Takahashi. Takahashi, granted, does the running baseball slide into it, but it is a sunset flip powerbomb to the outside. This is stuff that feels fresh 25 years later.
I know. I absolutely love it. Jeff hits RVD with a chair, and then RVD begs off. This is at the top of the ramp now. So Jeff then goes to swing the chair, and that's when RVD baited him into it, so he could jump up and hit the Van Daminator, and that sends Jeff off the stage.
And you're right, the crowd, they've never seen that. They're like, this dude just kicked a chair in someone's face.
Awesome.
And it's really back and forth.
Yeah.
It's not there's no rest holds in this match. JR even says it's a hell of a match.
Yeah. And if JR is saying it, that is just legit JR going, like, earlier when it's about the referees match, he called it bowling shoe ugly, which is JR code for that's sorry, Dave. Sorry, you got to review that one. I love this match. And it doesn't feel like it's a WWF match.
No.
Or it feels like a new version of WWF that is trying to get out, but is being stifled by a management or top stars that don't think that this is how wrestling should be.
Yeah.
It's a style that's evolving. It's the style that they're doing on the indie scene at this point in time. Danielson, Joe, Kazarian, all are doing this sort of indie style. The WWF seeing them and like, nope, you don't know how to work. Van Daminator in the corner and Jeff is busted open. Split-legged moonsault, but Jeff gets the knees up. Twist of fate, but RVD kicks out. And the crowd are so hot. They are hotter for this than anything else bar the main event.
And this has no storyline going into it.
No.
This is just a dream match.
Swanton, but RVD avoids, hits the 5-star right onto the title belt. It's that beautiful Rob Van Dam 5-star where he sells it just as much as his opponents. He gets the win, gets the title, and JR says, I wonder how many stars people are going to give that at home.
Yeah.
Well, I can answer you. Dave Meltzer said easily the show stealer, 4 stars.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably fair. 4 1/4 to today. Yeah.
Brian Alvarez would say a damn good match with a crowd that went hoss for it. I liked this far better than almost any of Van Dam's ECW matches, mainly because he seemed to do a better job choosing his spots and didn't throw out every single move in the world. Most of his ECW matches numbed me. This one was very entertaining, 4 stars.
Interesting. So it's like you've got the RVD from ECW, but he has learned a different way of portraying himself to fit in with this new product.
Yeah.
Shows growth.
Really, really good. And that also means that we're now 4-4 in terms of scores.
Michael Cole really exposes himself as uncool in the aftermath.
Oh, yeah?
Because, JR's like, what a match. How many stars are you going to give that at home, folks? And Cole just starts going, yeah, but look at this guy. His ego. He's in love with himself. And he's got that throughout the entire match. Oh, my notes say Rob's meant to be a heel. No matter how much the crowd start cheering him, he's cocky,
he's
full of
arrogant,
himself, he's arrogant.
He's the narcissist. Vince McMahon passing backstage, or is backstage, and is pacing backstage, I should say, and Kurt walks in, and Vince wants Kurt to think about the beating that he took on SmackDown. I want you to think about your country. I want you to think about the American flag. And Kurt says, enough of this Americana bullshit. Flat out.
Yeah.
Americana bullshit. Do you know what I did in the 1996 Olympics? I kicked some serious ass, which is what I'm going to do tonight. And share. I'm going to do this for my country. Yeah, I'm going to do this for my flag. Yeah, I'm going to do this for my country. But I'm doing this for myself.
He's a badass good guy now.
And the key for it is not just the swear. It's going from saying, I'm going to kick your butt, which is what he was saying to Kurt Angle. Or, on Raw when he was like, WWF rules, pal. No, this is, I'm going to kick his ass. And he kicked some serious ass.
It's so far away from his dork character from just 2 weeks ago.
Although I do say it is slightly ruined by Michael Cole. Sorry, I'm just going to get past this video package here because Michael Cole has a terrible throw line to the next match.
I know exactly what you did. You won the gold medal. I kicked some serious ass. Which is what I'm going to do.
Ass used to be bitch.
And sure, I'm going to do it for my country. And I'm going to do it for my company. But most of all, I'm going to do it for me. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Come on, Kurt.
Well, speaking of serious behinds.
Speaking of big, voluptuous breasts.
Yeah, if you didn't quite catch that. Speaking of some serious behinds, because up next, it's the Bra and Panties tag team match between Tori Wilson and Stacy Keibler taking on Trish Stratus and Lita. Well, this is very much a product of its time.
Yes. The video package is incredibly lame. If you thought Stacy and Tori were pretty wooden earlier, not as wooden as some men in the audience might be.
Well, the Hardy Boys. They are the goofiest pair of goofballs. Oh, Dory, I think them girls might like us.
It is full-on lame porn dialogue. And then we get into the actual match, and Mick Foley's entrance music hits as the ref. I'm like, you started this show with clips of Stalin. This is the most serious threat the company's ever faced. And Mick Foley's just walked out unannounced for a horny jolly with the lads.
And JR's like, what a smart son of a bitch. JR says that he personally, JR, I studied tapes of the Briscoes and the Funk so I could learn what not to call in this match.
Very good.
There is no mention that just 3 weeks ago, Tori Wilson was a honey trap for Vince McMahon by Linda McMahon.
Working with Linda, you're totally right.
3 weeks ago.
I like how Tori gets her own entrance. Stacey, she got her own entrance. But Hugh Morris, Chris Kanyon, and Sean Stasiak had to come out as one.
Well, that's because Stacey's legs go from here to here. You know how all legs start and end.
I bet my legs are longer than Stacy Keibler's.
Okay, let's
just
find out.
Just I'm a bit taller.
All right, okay, I'm going to Google how long.
No, just say how tall is Stacy Keibler?
Well, but it's not that she might have really long legs, but like
just
a smaller body. So Stacy,
like it's her legs, and then it's her boobs.
Keibler's legs. AI overview is going to let me know. No, I don't want to sign in Google. Stacy Keibler's long legs are famously long, measuring 41.5 inches to 42 inches in length.
What do you reckon? What do you reckon, guys?
Have we got a tape measure in here? I'll tell you what, for the next episode...
We're going to measure my legs.
And see if they go from here to here.
41... Glad I've got my smart shoes on today. We're going out tonight. Can't straighten it though. Look. This is how far up it can go straight.
I'm just going to call Dave and see if there's a tape measure in the office.
I don't think there is.
Dave.
But if I were to eyeball, so a 30 centimeter ruler, we know what that looks like.
Yeah. Put one on the edge of the station.
That's 12 inches generally.
Mm-hmm.
So
hello, Dave. Have we got a tape measure in the office? It sounds like the sort of thing we used to have. Dan's got one. Oh, brilliant! Can you bring it down to the studio, Dave? Ollie wants to know if his legs are longer than Stacy Keibler's. Thanks, Dave. In a second.
Okay, so 42 inches. Well, Dave's legs are going to be longer.
It might not be. It's proportion, isn't it? What if Dave is all body?
I'm curious. This is good because we can actually see how long Stacy Keibler's legs are.
Yeah. Yeah, which is true.
Yeah.
Right, where do we want to go
This
to
isn't
next?
pervy, by the way. This is more of a
This is science.
this is strict measurements. We're trying to figure out.
Yeah. I mean, look, this could be nitpicking here. Maybe I was just in a weird mood when I was making these notes, but I've written here, oddly, Team WWF are in the heel corner.
Come on, guys.
Come on, guys. Did no one know how to work? Trish takes the top off Stacy. The heels take the top off Lita. Lita misses a crossbody. I don't know why I'm making notes of moves. Oddly, Lita misses a move that leads into a Trish hot tag. That was a weird spot. Tori has the top of Trish, but Trish reverses that to get the trousers off. Trish's top is also off. Poetry in motion by Trish and Lita. Tori fully stripped down. Bulldog to Stacy. Moonsault, didn't get all of it. Trousers off. Team WF wins.
Yeah, so Trish and Lita end up topless, and WCW are in their bra and pants. Everyone's happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lads enjoyed it.
And
speaking of the lads, here comes Dave.
Speedy time. Okay.
Sorry, so Stacy Keibler's legs are,
Should we say
according
42
to
inches?
AI Overview, 41.5 inches.
Can we just see how tall that is first?
45.
42 inches.
That's quite long.
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
What?
What?
As a point of reference. That's
What?
Whoa!
My waist.
No, that is.
So you can see just on the
Wait,
camera.
can you see? Hang on, look on camera.
No, Dave,
Okay,
you need
if
to
you
walk
come this
forward.
way.
Yeah.
Oh my
That's like
god.
to there.
Those are some long legs. Whoa! Not even close.
Wait, where are we
Was-
saying a
Where
leg?
does the leg begin?
Well, let's see
The
what.
hip
Well,
bone?
I tell you what. Stacey tells us. Let me find out.
She goes from here to here.
Oh, great. Here's the segment. Because Stacey does tell us.
Okay.
Willie Regal and Raven. Here we go. So she
Yeah.
measures from heel.
From her, from her.
All the
All the way.
way up to here.
Okay, so to the hip bone.
Yeah,
I
I
mean-
reckon she's about.
Look, I've kind of got a bit of a heel in here. So I'm probably 41.
I think she's about an inch longer legs than you.
Oh god damn!
Oh, son of a bitch. How tall is she?
Stacey? That's my next
Thanks,
question.
everyone. Bye.
Cheers, Dave.
Cheers, Dave.
You're gonna
Wait,
write an
Dave,
article-
before you go, we
write
need
an
to-
article on that.
How tall? Because we can compare height as well. Is Stacy Keibler? How tall is Stacy Keibler? 1.8 meters.
Okay,
So can you do 1.8 meters, Dave? Look into this, Dave.
I think that's pretty much the
That's
same
6
height
foot.
as me. Yeah.
1.8.
She's not. These are working heights.
I know she probably is 6 foot.
Well, according to Wikipedia, it's 5'11", so it's about the same height as me.
1.8. Oh, that's 200. 1.8 here.
Does it say feet?
Mm.
So slightly.
Yeah, you're like an inch more.
So I'm an inch taller than her, but
But
she
yeah.
has an inch longer legs.
There you
Well,
go. It's proportions,
yeah, a good
man.
proportion of her was legs, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mm.
I would say she had longer than your average proportionally.
Hence
Well-
the gimmick, right?
you can cut. I mean, no smoke without fire. The
Anyway,
gimmicks
bye.
come from
Cheers,
somewhere.
Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Do you think we can call Stacey?
No,
We'll fly her in for a comparison.
it's not creepy. We just want to start off this phone call, Stacey, letting you know this isn't a creepy request, but we need to get to the bottom of it. Not that bottom.
that
Not
bottom.
that bottom. To your feet. To your beautiful. I mean, no.
All right, just before we get into the main event, this is one of the things that this show is probably most known for, and it is as the girls are celebrating. They walk up to the ramp. They don't. Trish doesn't know there's a V there, and whoa! And Lita has to save her from falling
Oh,
off.
wow, that could have been catastrophic.
Yeah, because she just walks back wherever. They're always
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a ramp.
Yeah, that's weird there, isn't it?
Whoa!
And if you put this, I mean, again, it's not creepy. We're just going to put this shot back up on.
I mean, if you're watching this on the YouTube version, this is all blurred anyway.
Yes. So what an advert to go over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk. I don't know if I like watching women not wanting their clothes off and them getting ripped off them.
Yeah, interesting.
I do-
interesting. What an interesting
Because that-
position to take.
That is the crux of this match.
They don't want their clothes to be
Don't
taken
take my clothes
off.
off.
'Cause that's highly embarrassing.
Yeah. But they agreed to the match, so there's some form
Well, they
of
laid out the
consent there.
challenge.
Yeah. But it just makes I don't know how into it I was when they were running up. I thought I'd be more into it. I thought I was a worse person, but actually when it played out in front of me, I felt kind of awkward.
But is that 38-year-old Ollie or is that 13-year-old?
Oh, it's 38-year-old Ollie. Ollie Davis is watching this in his room at the age of 13, 14.
I mean, like, this is near when they put the Bra and Panties match into the WWF video games. That was a big deal at the time. Anyway, it's time for the Team Coalition to get hyped up. Heyman says tonight is their chance to be a failure or a god. And all the while, Stephanie is just screaming, yeah! Yeah! I feel like she has to add something to the conversation, but she's got little to say. Dave Meltzer would say, match was long enough to where they actually tried some wrestling between the clothes ripping, and it was predictably awful. And Brian Alvarez said, I'm not even sure how to call this match.
Yeah.
Right, yes. Do you want the backstage segment?
No, my one was going to be, so there was that backstage segment, and then we go over to Vince and Steve and Deborah Bam Non-Factor, because Vince has given motivational speeches to everyone but Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he sits down and he says that I don't need your motivation, I'm stone cold. And then he says, that's the bottom line. But he says it with such hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm choosing to enjoy this, not in the catastrophe of Stone Cold turning heel or babyface or all the invasion plans. I'm looking at this, I'm enjoying it through. Steve is in love with Vince. Vince has said he doesn't want this version of Steve. Steve's heart is broken. And from that perspective, this is a beautiful character moment.
You know why? Because that's the bottom line. Because Stone Cold said so.
Like, he's angry. He's angry with Vince there.
Look what you've made me do.
Yeah. This isn't, it could be read, and at the time you'd take it as, I'm a badass. I'm going to kick ass for Team WWF. But actually that's Steve going, I'm pissed off with you, Vince. I'm going to betray you and this whole company.
Yeah.
Because you've broken my heart.
You're going to see what's coming next.
Yeah.
And what is next is the inaugural brawl, the only brawl, as Team WCW and ECW take on the Team WWF. Team WCW, ECW is DDP, Booker T, the Dudley Boys, and Rhino. Team WWF, Big Show, that's Survivor Series. Kane, Undertaker, Chris Jericho, Steve Austin, and Kurt Angle. Man, the WWF side is littered with stars.
Yes, and the other side is littered with ECW guys. Again, what would this match have been if the alliance hadn't been formed?
I want, because you've got to imagine, right? They have already announced the brawl. The inaugural brawl was going to happen. They'd already announced that's the main event before the ECW team. So, okay, Booker T and DDP would have definitely been on there.
Yes.
Palumbo and O'Haire, maybe?
Maybe as tag team champions, yeah.
Who would your fifth guy have been?
Mike Awesome? No, he was going to be in the hardcore match.
Yeah, with Rhino.
Shane?
Yeah, absolutely. Shane would have been in the match. Yeah, it would have been Shane.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, I've heard some people say that Shane should have been in this match. Shane and Vince should have been in this match, or should have been in the last one.
I mean, that if you're going to do it, that makes perfect sense considering how this feud started, considering the X7 match as well. This is, and do another rematch as a singles later on.
And when I say the last one, I mean the last match of this pay-per-view run, not the last match on this show. I don't want to say that Vince and Shane should have been in the Bra and Panties match. So Shane comes out first. Stephanie comes out with Paul Heyman. And Cole tells us, so now we have this officially canonical, Heyman is the general manager of ECW. There you go. I found out, apparently, one of the plans was Mick Foley was going to be introduced as the general manager of WCW.
Okay.
When it was a babyface organization. And then when they had to turn heel, they scrapped off those plans.
Interesting. So that's why Mick is kind of just weirdly suddenly around this show.
Yeah. It's amazing that this is in the same building. Like, you talk about sort of like happenstance, coincidence. But there this show is taking place is the same building where Shane bought WCW.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
It's so bizarre how these things happen. Vince comes out and gets a good pop. Cole puts over the decade of destruction for The Undertaker. But the thing I always remember about this show is when Rhino comes out looking awesome and Heyman is just yelling gore. And you can just hear him on camera going, gore, gore. It's rad.
It's weird how they do the entrances, though, because I was like, okay, Shane, Stephanie, Heyman out first, then Vince. All right, they're doing the owners first, and they'll watch their teams come out. But actually, it's back and forth the entire time.
Yeah.
You get Dudley's first, Rhino first, sorry. No, Dudley's first, then Taker and Kane, then Rhino, then Jericho. Stephanie is giving Jericho evils at ringside. It's just fuck already, guys.
She's imagining what might happen.
Yeah. Shane cannot help himself when Booker T comes out. Despite him being near the commentary desk in the previous shot, Booker T comes out. Shane is suddenly right by him doing a dance.
Yeah, that's my man! That's my man!
Yeah, baby!
When Booker T comes out, JR, you've got to stop doing this, JR. He's no Ric Flair. He's no Sting. Don't point it out, Jim. Don't point out that you haven't got the top stars of the company. Taker brawls with DDP, so the fight breaks out.
Sorry, Kurt comes out as well, gets a huge babyface ovation.
Huge reaction. And I think I said this in a previous episode, might have been the last one actually. I wasn't watching Raw and SmackDown. This is my first time seeing Kurt since WrestleMania X7, really. It might have been Judgment Day, whichever the last free pay-per-view was on Channel 4. So he came out and got this monster babyface reaction. I remember being so surprised.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought we all hated Kurt. I hadn't seen him turn babyface. But yeah, Taker brawls with DDP, so a fight breaks out before Austin arrives. And again, guys, all the signs were there that you should have just kept Austin a babyface, because, man, listen to this.
Oh, he's so badass.
So badass.
So cool.
Signs were there, man. They're so big into Austin. But they keep talking about how Booker is a sellout. I was like, I didn't see any of that. You talk about like we're rushing this thing. They could have at least done that one.
Yeah. Yeah, when was Booker a sellout?
When WCW turned heel.
Oh, I see. When he tried to stop Taker getting beaten up by all the WCW guys.
Yeah, what a sellout. So the match so far, as I've written in my notes here, has been Austin beating up Rhino, then Jericho beating up Booker, then Angle beats up Devon, Kane beats up Devon, Bubba breaks up a chokeslam with Sam, so Kane beats him up. Bubba gets a blind tag, they hit the 3DB. I thought that would lead to the heat spot, but then Kane beats up Bubba. Then Taker tags in, and he beats up Bubba. And then finally we get a heat spot for the heels. And it's on Taker.
I know, after the whole invasion where Taker has not been selling for any of the Alliance guys. Yeah.
I mean, he's not selling here either. He's not taking bumps. He's not selling the moves or anything. He's just being worked over.
Yeah. So it's Bubba, Rhino, DDP. Like, they all take their turns doing moves on Taker. Sure, Taker gets up and is throwing punches in the interim. But yeah, he is not tagging in and out like the opening of the match was. Just before we move past it, the match begins with Rhino and Austin in the ring. The guys get on their respective corners. Rhino and Austin are the first people legally in the ring. JR points out this is the current WWF champion versus the last ECW champion.
Love that. Apparently there was some talk of them bringing in the ECW world title with the idea that RVD was going to unify the hardcore title, European title, and the WCW US title, just to try and consolidate some of the belts that they've got and have that, kind of like they did with the NWA title, throws them all down as like, this is the ECW World Championship.
That's a really cool idea.
Yeah. Austin tags in, he beats up Booker T. Jericho tags in, he beats up Booker T and DDP. Then there's a cheap shot, and finally, the heels get some heat, and one of them sells. And of course, it's Chris Jericho. Of all of the lads on Team WWF, of course it was Chris Jericho is the one that the baddies get the heat on.
Well, he's smart about wrestling. Whereas the other guys are kind of successful on the WWF side for being smart, for protecting their character. But Jericho's probably gone in there like, the story of this match needs me to get worked over and to actually look in peril here. Yeah. Even then, it's not forever.
No, it's not. JR at this point says that he likes sports entertainment. That's my style. I don't want to go back to the boring wrestling of WCW. I don't want us to have the career-shortening style of ECW. I like sports entertainment. Like, I don't think we should just be calling this boring wrestling.
Yeah.
And also, by the end of WCW's run, was anyone watching that being like, well, this is some classic wrestling right here?
It's JR obviously prefers classic wrestling as well, but he's so good at selling. It really does feel like he loves WWF.
Yeah. To your point as well, it does not last long for the Jericho Heat segment because Kurt tags in and he beats up both of the Dudley boys. The heels work over Kurt and the crowd chant for Austin, and they give massive pop when he gives the referee the middle finger. No one ever ducks low enough for the Booker T scissors kick. Come on, guys. And JR hates the spinneroonie so much. Austin finally gets the hot tag, but the referee doesn't see it. The pop for that was insane. So this is the point. Sack that off. Let's just do a brawl. Let's just everyone just get in, do moves. We'll all brawl around ringside.
Austin, to build up to this, you know, he flipped off the referee. He is going almost over the top. This is Shawn Michaels selling for Hulk Hogan in how desperate he is showing himself to be to get in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
It's so over the top. I feel like this is Austin trying to throw everyone off the scent.
Pantomiming.
Yeah, it's pantomime, yeah.
So the match breaks down. Our legal people at this point then are Kurt Angle and Booker T. Rhino accidentally gores Booker, Taker beats up DDP, and even gives Little Nate the last ride. Woof.
Yeah, not a choke slam, but the highest move you can take from a
Come
heel.
here, boy!
And that's because he turned heel earlier with Nick Patrick.
Taker chases off DDP. Now, do you know why this happens?
So, Taker and DDP, they go through the crowd and you don't see them again, do you?
Yeah.
What did DDP say? Hey, I've got some pretty good videos out back?
No. Apparently, the reason why Taker and DDP brawl off into the back is because everyone has to have a move done for them and be laid out, which Taker isn't going to do. But also, Taker can't be there when Austin turns heel, because then he would have to go in and attack Austin, which is also... The show's got to end with Austin standing tall. So the way to do that, then, is just to have Taker be removed from the match.
Yeah, I mean, pretty standard, isn't it? In terms of, these guys, this guy is protected. We can't have him involved in the finish, so they brawl out of the crowd.
I think there is a bit... You could be put through a table...
Well,
and sell. But Taker's just like, I'm not selling at this point. I'm not having moves done to me and selling them.
If that's the obstacle you have, this is the best way round it.
There's a bit in a couple of months' time, I think it's in like the September editions of The Observer, where they're talking about, the reason why they did the home invasion and stalker angle with The Undertaker is they wanted to make him feel more human, because the crowd are so not used to seeing this human side of Undertaker, because they've seen him be the dead man for so long. So we want to have him feel as real, which is why he's got a wife. That's why he had an angle with his father-in-law as one of the sort of like these videos. And Brian Alvarez says like, a way to make him human is if he sells. That might make him look not superhuman. Austin then gets hurt and he goes down, and the doctors have to rush to Austin to check on him, which means the Team W are down. They're actually now down 2 guys. It's just Angle, Jericho, and Kane left.
He's selling his knee and the medics are removing the brace.
Kane chokeslams Devon through the announcer's table, but then double suplex by Rhino and Bubba to Kane through the other announce table. So now he is taken out. Jericho then spears Rhino off the ring apron through a table. So now he's out as well. It's just Angle. So Angle makes his big comeback and he takes out Booker. He takes out Bubba. He gets the ankle lock, but we get a ref bump. There's some then commotion with the world title, and Shane clocks Vince with the world title. Angle takes out Shane. He takes out Bubba. Angle slam to Booker. Ankle lock. Booker is tapping, but there's no referee. Austin is back. Austin is fine. He picks up the referee. Shall we watch the ending?
Yeah.
Where do we get to?
Yeah, it's like bodies all around because everyone's been taken out. It just
feels
is
so chaotic.
Yeah, it's good. The drama really builds.
Yeah, but here we go. Austin's fine.
There's Stephanie there. Kendall and Shiv.
And then they stop playing Booker T's music to play Steve's music instead.
Yes. Yeah. It lasts like 10 seconds.
Austin celebrates not with the wrestlers, but with Shane, Stephanie, and Paul Heyman. Austin
betrayed them.
Has turned heel again. Dave Meltzer would say everybody worked hard and this was good, but not the caliber of most WWF main events, 3.5 stars. Alvarez would say Cole kept going on and on about how hard it was to explain what was at stake here. I'll explain it in one word. Nothing. As a match, this was very good. 3 3/4 stars. Now, Alvarez writes here of the Austin turn. Vince McMahon used to know better than anyone that you always give the fans what they want. The fans support the product, they buy tickets, they buy merchandise, they buy pay-per-views. If you give them what they want, they come back for more. If, like in the dying days of WCW, you promise them something over and over yet never deliver, you eventually swerve yourself out of business. When Steve Austin came back from his neck surgery, Vince formulated a plan which would lead to Austin turning heel at Mania. Presumably, his theory was that Austin had grown stale as a babyface and needed a new makeover. Unfortunately, the majority of the WWF fan base saw it differently. To them, Austin wasn't stale. He'd been off TV for a full year. When he finally returned, fans got behind his quest to regain the WWF title. WrestleMania 2001 in Austin's home state of Texas drew over 67,000 fans live and 900,000 orders on pay-per-view. It was one of the most successful wrestling events of all time. Name 5 matches on the undercard. Okay, name 2. The hardcore
Nick Patrick versus Earl Hebner.
No, it's about X7.
X7.
The hardcore triple threat.
Yeah, TLC.
Clearly, most people in the building and many of the 900,000 people at home, and God knows how many viewers that actually adds per home, paid to see Austin finally take that last step and heroically regain the title. And the WWF slapped them in the face. Business following WrestleMania fell at an alarming and record-setting rate. Certainly some of that fall was due to The Rock's departure and the death of WCW, but Austin's turn also did a lot of damage. In his own hometown, on the biggest night of his comeback, on the biggest show of all time, Stone Cold Steve Austin, the man who ushered in WWF's most successful years of business, turned on every one of those fans he helped create and did the one thing he never thought they'd see him do. He shook hands with Vince McMahon. House show business also fell rapidly because as great as Austin was as a heel, fans didn't want to buy tickets to see him behave that way. This past Monday, after 3 months of panic and disappointment, it appeared that WWF had given up on the experiment. After teasing a return of the old Stone Cold on SmackDown, Austin hit the ring in the Raw main event and made the save for Team WWF. The pop for his run-in was huge, but at the same time, it still appeared tentative as fans didn't fully trust him yet. Things went better on SmackDown. When his music finally hit an Invasion, he got the biggest and most enthusiastic ovation of the night. Then, Vince slapped them in the face again. The big angle to close the pay-per-view saw Austin, who had earlier faked a knee injury, give babyface Kurt Angle a stunner, then threw Booker T on top for the pinfall. So it was WrestleMania all over again, but this time, the swerve was that Austin wasn't with Vince, but rather the hated WECW. Although I think it's an incredibly stupid move on WWF's part, there is an upside here. After the Austin heel turn and departure of The Rock following WrestleMania, there wasn't a strong top babyface to carry the company. WWF tried putting Undertaker and Kane in that role, but it was a failure. At least now they've got 2 babyfaces in that hole, with the younger and infinitely more talented Angle rising to the top babyface, and Rock expected to return at any time. As bad as I feel the actual decision was, I've got nothing but positives to say about Austin himself. Since coming back from neck surgery, he has worked his arse off and taken far more punishment than a guy who made $8 million in his best year could possibly expect it to take. But he didn't work with just usual wear and tear that weekend. On Thursday, Austin went a CT scan and was diagnosed with 3 broken bones in his back, 2 broken bones in his hand. These injuries all occurred at King of the Ring when Booker T put the US through the announce table. As horrible as this sounds, Jim Ross in his online report noted that the bones were not load-bearing, and doctors told him he'd be able to resume a normal schedule in about 2 weeks. Still, despite all these injuries, he still worked the pay-per-view like a man possessed, even hitting Rhino with a top rope superplex early. It's the kind of performance a wrestler of his caliber doesn't need to be putting in, but he's doing it anyway and deserves a ton of respect. So, why did this happen? I teed this up at the start of the episode. According to Jim Ross on Grilling JR, he still wanted to be a heel. And Vince, in meetings I had with the 3 of us and privately with Vince, said, "We owe him that, JR. We owe him that opportunity."
Vince was saying it's kind of a respect thing.
Austin kept saying, "I want to be a heel. I don't want to be a face. I want to be a heel." And Vince said, to Jim, it's gone to Jim Ross. We've got to give him that opportunity.
I can believe it because what Vince, what makes him so complex is that he sometimes has a code. It's an inconsistent code, but you think Vince, the ruthless businessman, does everything for the bottom line. But then here, something that's proven not to be working for the audience growth, he goes back to a sort of personal relationship reason.
JR continues, he said his instincts have been pretty good at Stone Cold. Maybe he's onto something. Maybe it'll be the right place. Maybe it'll be the right time, and this time it clicks. I just thought it was poor casting, i.e. booking, and I expressed myself to both guys, man to man, that I didn't think it was going to be okay. It's hard in pro wrestling business to build a viable money-drawing babyface, and when you find that person and you have that execution of this function, you don't want to screw with it, just make it stronger. And you do that by having stronger villains in the numbers game, and you put the babyface in jeopardy. So it was just two guys, Vince and Steve, saying, maybe we'll do it this way, maybe this time this will be the trick, and it takes. And what people didn't understand was that Steve was beloved so much that even though he was a little rough around the edges, and he was coarse in the fingers and the beer and the cursing, people loved him for that attitude. You can make the argument, well, they needed more depth, they being WCW. They needed more depth. They needed more star power and all that stuff. You're getting star power from a guy who can't wrestle full time. So what are we doing? They're still buying his merchandise like it's going out of style, like it was going obsolete. It was just stubbornness. To cut through the bullshit, I think it was just people being stubborn and saying we can make this work. Sometimes you can make it work if the audience... Sometimes you can't make this work if the audience doesn't want it to work. And they did not want it to work as it relates to Steve being a hated villain.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle on the Kurt Angle Show said, I thought the match was put together very well, and I thought that everyone performed to their very, very best, and it was as good as it could have been. I know Meltzer felt that it wasn't good, but I thought it was. I thought it was a 4-star match. The finish
That's not far off what Meltzer gave it.
The finish did suck. Not having a proper finish and Austin turning heel again, it was scary. I think Vince took a chance. I'm not sure he hit a grand slam on this one. I think he whiffed pretty hard. And so that's the Austin heel turn. That's people's feelings on there. What are your feelings 25 years on?
Look, I'm a huge fan of the psychological character arc Austin is telling with the Vince obsession. And I think there is an argument that this is the time to turn him heel. But don't turn him heel at WrestleMania X7. Never have him side with Vince. And actually him siding with Vince is what makes him turn on Team WWF. And he sides with Stephanie and Shane, like I sort of said earlier. So I don't think you can have both. I think you should try an Austin heel turn. Why not? Especially if Austin's very passionate about it. You either do it at X7, it doesn't work, you turn him babyface for here, or you don't try it at X7, you turn him heel for here, and you only have one of them.
Yeah. I think there's so many factors at play with this. You've got Austin, who wants to be a heel. You've got a heel promotion in the Alliance who does not have a star. It's like, well, they need to have a top guy in that company. But also, and I'm kind of looking at this sort of like with the benefit of hindsight, of 25 years of hindsight, knowing how the rest of 2001 plays out, but also looking at how they were at the time. You can just sort of look at these business metrics. Like Vince McMahon can look to Steve and be like, Steve, look what's happened since you've turned heel. I know you feel creatively unfulfilled, but as a businessman, as a promoter, this is not working. We've got to try it. We've got to go back the other way to when it was working.
And we have tried it. We did give you the opportunity on the biggest stage.
But I think if you had done this, or done that rather, Steve Austin taking his ball and going home in 02 would have happened earlier. Because you turn Steve Austin babyface by the end of this year, and boy, oh boy, is that a man who is then just miserable. He is miserable throughout December. You watch him in 02, his heart is not in it. And he's just miserable the whole time. Then he's feuding with Hall, which he's just not into. And then he's gone. Because he was like, why am I facing...
That's it.
Again, then it's like the Brock Lesnar's like, well, now why am I facing Brock Lesnar for free on TV? Why are we not building this for a pay-per-view? And they're like, well, we'll do that later. Fine. I'm going home. And then he's gone. And it's the end of Austin in WWF. Really, it is the end. I know he comes back, but it's not the same. That is the end of Austin in WWF as a top guy. So if you'd have just here been like, I'm sorry, Steve, the charts say we've got to keep you babyface, I think he might be gone before the end of the year.
Yeah. Well, you know what really should have happened then? Sign Bill Goldberg! Then you've got a hot baby face to go up against this heel.
So, in regards to like the show as a whole, Jericho said on Kurt Angle's show, the Invasion pay-per-view was the highest payoff I ever got in the WWE besides 2 or 3 WrestleManias. I was in 12 WrestleManias and it beat 9 of them. That's how big it was. It was a giant check, and it was a 10-man tag match. Think about that. How much money did that pay-per-view make that 10 guys in the main event got that much? So what if it was the first one? So what if it wasn't the first one? Vince wasn't interested. He'd been at war with WCW for so long, he bought it, he got a blow-off from it, and he said, you're done. And that was his goal. He wants to kill it, squash it, end it, done. That's what he did. I do think that Jericho has misremembered a lot of the Invasion. I think in his head it was one show, because the way he talks about it in his book as well is that he turned heel to cost The Rock the match against Team WWF and Team WCW. But he turned heel way before that and was feuding with The Rock in the last few months leading into Survivor Series. I think he has just misremembered this year. Because the way he talks about it there, then he did one show. Then he did one match and they never did it again. You're in 2 of them. And from the death of WCW, how much cash? This was illustrated at the Invasion pay-per-view, a show so successful, it's devastatingly sad. It was a clear demonstration of just how much revenue the company blew. The event from the Gund Arena in Cleveland drew a sellout 15,533 paid with an 848,000 gate, but it's peanuts compared to the buy rate. 1.6, which translates to a whopping 760,000 buys and a $10 million gross. $10 million for one show. The Invasion was just horrible, noted Raven, who was among the ECW originals. It was a crime against nature. But I understand why Vince did it. It's because he wants to prove he's superior to everyone. And he's so rich he doesn't care about money. Which is a shame, because he could have made so much more money. Put it this way. It was one of the highest buy rates they ever did, and they did nothing to make it special. They did everything they could to hamstring it. It's so fucking sad. He's so cruel and vindictive, he doesn't care. He has to have the biggest dick in the room.
That's the thing, isn't it? Both people there talking about he could have made more money. As a businessman, you could have got more from this, but this is Vince's vindictive side where, no, I'm done with WCW. I won. I don't want to be a part of it.
That would have been more than enough to pay off the contracts of 3 of the biggest stars in WCW at the end, Ric Flair, Goldberg, and Scott Steiner. And God only knows how big the buy rate would have been if those men had actually been involved. You see, It was the very concept of WWF versus WCW that sold this show, but it wasn't an actual WWF versus WCW match.
And Flair is so close to, like, what? This is June, late June.
Yeah.
And he comes in November?
Yeah. It's right there. It's even harder to fathom the kind of business they'd have done for at least a year afterwards if they'd have bought all the big stars in on day one and promoted this the way it should have been promoted. The WCW stars, portrayed as equals, would have given the promotion enough dream matches to last a couple of years. Instead, the Invasion was watered down by WWF guys pretending to be on the other team, as well as more McMahons than anyone ever wanted to see.
Yeah.
And that's the story of Invasion. I mean, unfortunately for, well, not actually unfortunately because I'm enjoying myself so much at this point, but unfortunately for a lot of wrestling fans at this time, and for the WWF actually, this is going to go on for another few months, for the rest of this year, and they are done with it now.
Few months? 5 months?
Yeah.
No, wait. We're in June. Yeah, 5 months.
Yeah, so this ends in November. We've got another 5 months of it, and they've already given up.
And it's only technically gone 1 month. 5 months of the 6 months this runs for are bad.
Oh, yeah. King of the Ring was 4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago was King of the Ring. I think it feels like a lifetime ago. But yeah, that's the Invasion. I've got so much nostalgic love for this show. I love this period of time. As a show, what did you make of it?
Oh, it's a nothing show. It's a total money left on the table show. Bad build. Weird build as well. Both bad and weird. Plans changing all the time. But the only matches that absolutely should have been on this are Rob Van Dam versus Jeff Hardy, in that it's a genuine dream interpromotional match, and Nick Patrick versus Earl Hebner, because it's a fun comedy gimmick bit that the crowd was super into.
Yeah.
Everything else on this card, and I'm including the main event because that isn't what the version of that should have been, is subpar.
Yeah.
It's subpar, like in terms of not achieving its fullest potential or actively bad.
There's something else actually that I've not mentioned on any of the other shows yet, and I've only actually just remembered it now. Do you know who was supposed to start a return at the start of this year? Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels was brought back in January for discussions about doing something big, and he was going to have a match at WrestleMania X7, and then they bought WCW, and they said to him, there's too much going on to this show now. We haven't got time to get Shawn Michaels on the card. So Shawn goes home. But you could have had Shawn Michaels here at this time as well.
Yeah, because he comes back in about a year's time.
Yeah. So apparently, you could have had him as well. So as another star that could have been a part of this that you chose not to have. Yeah, it's not the show it should have been. But man, did it make some money. And it should have been, I think, the Austin pop should have been a sign. The money you made should have been a sign. But the Vince vindictiveness, I think, shines through. And he's like, nah, do you know what? I won.
Yeah.
No one cares about this because he doesn't care about this. And I think that's the mistake. But in a couple of weeks' time, The Rock's coming back.
Yay!
And that is our next episode. It'll be over on patreon.com/WrestleTalk next month, where we're going to be looking at the episode, the July 30th, 2001 episode, where The Rock returns to the WWF after being away filming movies. And then here on YouTube, it'll be our review of The Rock's first match back, SummerSlam 2001, where he'll be facing Booker T for the WCW Championship in the main event.
Who in the blue hell are you? I'm Booker T. I don't care if you Booker A, Booker B, Booker C. The moment that Booker T died in my 13-year-old brain.
And the moment that Sting decided, well, I'm not coming in. That's next month here on YouTube and over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk. If you want to see us review the Go Home edition for this Invasion show, which is where you get...
Which is excellent.
Which is awesome. And it's the return of the old Stone Cold. That's available right now over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk. We will see you next month for the next chapter of 2001 and the Invasion.